Something's wrong, I feel it circling like vultures around my brain. Couldn't see the danger in your eyes. Draw me in, got me spinning now like water to a drain. You were perfect till I realized you hadn't shown your face. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along, a siren serenade. You're ringing out your prey. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. I was deaf to the ringing bells, wanting me to break, deafened by the sirens' soothing lies. I can't leave, I am in too deep, been sinking for a while, prisoner to the same thing I despise, devoted to a fake. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along, a siren serenade. You're ringing out your prey. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along, a siren serenade. You're ringing out your prey. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. Of course, postponed originally from Wednesday, but we have an awesome crew of panel members on today who answered the bat signal to come on to the Midweek Mix-Up and provide their awesome thoughts about all of this week's topics. Of course, we have our usual panel members, both the General C and Pathieu here. But we've also got three awesome special guests today: Web Dave, Kate Asante, and Crazy Louie Gaming. First of all, before we begin, we will get into our intros. So first and foremost, Asante, how are you doing today, sir? What you been up to and what you been playing?
Oh, I am doing great. I appreciate the sending up of the bat signal when you do. You know, as Michael Keaton, I stand up and I arrive. So I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invite. It's always good to do this. It's just sometimes a little difficult because it's during my workday. So if you happen to see me go like here, I'm making sure nobody's trying to knock down my door. But needless to say, having a great time. Preparing for the weekend and all this. As I'm sure folks who follow me on Twitter have heard me ranting and raving, the news gods are losing their minds this week. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm here with the good crew from the midweek mix-up, and of course, Potch is in the house. So I'm here and I'm excited. So thank you so much for having me here, and I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, thank you for answering the bat signal. Much appreciated, sir. Next up, Web Dave. How are you doing today, sir? What you been up to? What you been playing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing all kinds of good stuff. Lots of interviews, podcasts, and actually a lot of work today. I've had so many meetings today. It was crazy. I just got out of one right before we jumped on here. So, thanks again for the invite, man. I'm happy to be here. I love it, and yeah, this been playing a lot of games actually.
Nice, and we will get into them. Patchy, welcome back, sir. How are you been?
What's up,
What you been
guys?
up to?
Yes. Yeah, I have a lot of things going on with work, but you already know that. So, but that's another thing to talk about here. What I've been up to, man, I've been playing some GoldenEye, of course, 007, Age of Empires as well. Jumped in for a little bit, and Call of Duty. But I was really happy when they launched 007 GoldenEye on the Gamepass, because that game is like, it's a classic and you need to play it. So I really love that game, and finally after years I can continue the story, because I remember that I didn't finish it when I had the Nintendo 64. So yeah, glad that I can continue finally the story of James Bond.
Awesome stuff. And I know you've been jumping into HiFi Rush as well, of course. After I was like, you need to
Yes.
play this game, you need to play it. And you downloaded it, you played it, you were like, yep, awesome.
Yeah, also, I man, how can I forget about that game? Yeah. But we'll talk about it in the show. So.
Yes, we will, definitely. There's a lot of thoughts here about HiFi Rush that we haven't had before. There's 4 people here that I haven't spoken to about it. Me and Jen have spoke about it, me and Boxy have. But you 4 chaps, I need to hear your thoughts. I need to hear you air them, because it is truly worth it. Next up, Crazy Louis. Hello, sir, and again, welcome and thank you for answering the bat signal. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing excellent. Happy to join you guys into all the fun. And what have I been playing, man? Oh my god. I was in Aruba last week, and once I got here, I was like, man, I got so many games to play. I tried GoldenEye, and I was impressed. I was like, wow, this game feels good, And after that, I played a little bit of HiFi Rush. Wow, amazing. Dead Space, which, oh my god, man. And last but not least, I'm just stuck with Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm having so much fun with Red Dead Redemption. Oh my god, I don't know why. I just told myself, let me go back to it. So I went back to it, started playing it again, just taking my time, running around, doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and I'm enjoying that game.
That game needs a 60 FPS patch. It needs it.
Yep.
Like now, yesterday actually. It needed it yesterday.
I'm telling you, that game is great. Oh my god, it looks great in the Series X. It does. It feels great too.
Yeah, 100%. And last but not least, of course, the other panel member from Midweek Mix-Up and co-host of the Weekend Edition, General C. How are you doing today, sir? What have you been up to?
Hello. Yeah, not too bad. Had a bit of a weird and annoying week, but it is what it is. Moving on. Feeling better now. Completed HiFi Rush. Absolutely loved that game. The last 2 to 3 missions of that were insanely great. Played a bit of GoldenEye as well, and as someone that never played that game when it originally came out, I don't even think I was born when that game came out, to be honest. But I'm actually enjoying it. Please don't say that. Please. Come on now. Please don't say that. I'm actually enjoying it, to be honest. It's not bad. It's not bad. It can be a lot of fun. There's one of the missions I kept messing up, but I figured it out in the end. Game's not really clear on where you need to go, but
Yeah.
got there in the end. I think I'm halfway through that game, maybe. But my main game I've been playing a lot is Hunt Showdown. I'm proper back into Hunt Showdown again. Looking to stream that this weekend, hopefully. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week gaming.
Nice. And for me, mainly just stuck on Hi-Fi Rush. I wish I could pull myself off that game, but even when the game's finished, I find myself doing all this missions again, going to all the secret areas that I couldn't unlock, and getting all the equipment, getting new attacks, maxing out everything.
Question for you real quick about Hi-Fi Rush. How are you playing it? What's your setup?
In what way?
So, okay, I've played it on my console, I've played it on my PC, and I'm playing it also on the old decky, right?
Yes.
Problem is that calibration, boy, it's a problem. Like, depending on where you play it, if you're not direct connected like cable to your thing, you're missing. And I'm like, I have better rhythm than that. What is going on right now?
Yep,
right now?
yeah, the low latency is
that part
definitely
really
a requirement.
matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Cabled connection. I'm still trying to crack the nut to be able to play it here. I hate having to like direct connect to my, but I want to play it so much that I'm just like, I spent 20 minutes trying to get the calibration working. I'm just like, it's just not good enough. Couldn't hit perfects anymore.
I'm on a Series S for it. Again, this is usually where I do all the game testing and gameplay and etc. for games like that, for more should we say action games that require quick response. And I've got a hardwired Xbox controller into it.
There you go.
Which is specifically what I use the Series S for, is for games that require quick response. On the Series X, however, in the background, that's where I play like the slow kind of story games and things like that. Things that I can just relax on. That doesn't require quick rhythms. So, yeah, Series S, 100% plugged in. But I'm going to jump into some gameplay for the Series S. For the last, it was the Prodigy Must Die mission. Prodigy Must Die? Sorry, that's not the one. Prodigy definitely
PUBG Must Die? Yes. Yes.
Long game. I hear you.
I like you, Dutch, really.
Invaders Must Die by the Prodigy, that mission. But we'll have that gameplay on whilst we talk about our thoughts on Hi-Fi Rush. And again, me and Jen will go last because we've played it, we've already spoke about it, but I want to hear these chaps' thoughts on the game as well. So
I think we spoke about it at the weekend edition for like a solid hour. So
yeah, we did.
we've covered it.
Well, this is fun. So I'm gonna have to. It hasn't changed any of those. Terrific. Brill. Okay. We have some issues there. So no gameplay. Whilst I fix that.
We're here for you, buddy.
Never mind. We'll just get into it. Yeah, the cameras weren't set up for 6 people for some reason, even though I thought I had. Never mind. We'll get straight into the chatter, though. Asante, you're a Sega man yourself as well. Old school Sega man. You love the old Jet Set radios, Beautiful Joe, etc.
Oh.
What
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Hi-Fi Rush? And obviously, it was shadow dropped out of the blue. Give nobody a chance really to think about it. All they could do was just download it and get straight into it. Yeah,
What's absolutely.
Your thoughts?
So I come into this game as a musician from a past life. I play piano. I play saxophone. I have a music sequencer right down there somewhere. I make music. I've done so all my life in Holland, believe it or not. So I love all things music. I studied music and all that. One of my favorite games that did something similar when they first did it, and I thought it was a crazy idea that had never been done before at the time, and I'm just like, what is this thing? Was, what's it called again? Crypt of the Necrodancer. Has anybody heard of this game before? It's a it's a 2D, it's very much a indie project where, much like Hi-Fi Rush, it's not the same kind of music. It's more poppy and a little odd and very 2D, but you're in crypts, various crypts, and you're beating monsters to the beat, right? And everything is to the beat. And the more you do it to the beat, the more points you get. And I thought that was such an ingenious idea, right? And then the team who were successful with that project caught the eye of Nintendo, and Nintendo gave them the Zelda IP, and hence Cadence of Hyrule came out. If anybody has heard of Cadence of Hyrule, another one of those that's also very poppy, but it's very much in the Zelda skin, right? So, and then of course, Metal Hellsinger. We know what Metal Hellsinger is and what it did, and it was absolutely amazing, right? So I am primed to love these kind of games, and I honestly think this is probably the best version yet. Like, this is, because the other ones seem to penalize you a bit more for those who don't know what they're doing. This one kind of nudges you in the right direction, but doesn't penalize you if you don't know what you're doing, right? So, like I was talking to you a little bit before we started this conversation in earnest. I asked you what your setup was, because I refuse to stop playing this game. I'm shout out to Pong Soul, as he has coined the term, we are all grazers. So I'm always have like 3 or 4 or 5 games in the rotation, and I refuse to put this game down, even though I probably should because I've been playing it too much. But so I'm around my house. I cannot play on my PC, so I'm playing it on the deck. And unfortunately, on the deck, I have to like millimeter jack in it. Otherwise, it won't like give me the exact points I need. And I'm like, I am too much of a musician to not be hitting these things perfect. What's wrong with me? So I've been working on it. It is such a special game. It is so good. Graphically, it is superior than most of its ilk, right? It's really, really, it's a 2D. Well, it is a 2D, but it's the graphic style of it is just so fascinating. So fast, open world. Well, you're able to just not open world, but they have zones that you can, basically traverse through, and everything moves to the beat. Like everything. His finger snaps, his toe taps, the breeze wafting, the trees, the grass, everything is to that beat. And it's just so ingenious how they executed and how they made it work. I love how they just shadow dropped it, right? Because games like this, you have to experience for yourself. You should not be taking somebody's word for it, because you may or may not like it. And that's all subjective. But once you try it and it clicks, then you know whether you love it or you don't. And so far, I haven't heard anybody say they dislike it, but I really hear people going, like, I've heard some folks say it took them maybe 30 to an hour before it just magically clicked, or right from jump, but it's really, really making the rounds and people are really enjoying it. And I can't stop, I can't stop enjoying it. It is so good. I was saying this to you guys. If I don't see a television show for this game and the characters and all of that, I will be supremely disappointed. I feel like they have tripped over and found themselves a new mascot, right? They found themselves a new IP that in the past, this could be like a throwaway line. Now this could be a whole IP series moving forward, right? I think it's absolutely, it's perfectly executed. Perfectly executed. It doesn't stay too long. And when it's there, it is magic all the way through. It is excellent, 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 excellent. So, and again, I'm biased. I come from a very, very strong musical background. These days, I don't do music anymore. But when you do it so well, and I see that the drums behind you there, Web Dave. Salute, sir. Yes. When you do it so well, you deserve some respect. And I honestly think this game deserves all the accolades. If we don't see any kind of game of the year talk about this, I will be supremely disappointed, because this game deserves all the accolades. I think it's amazing. And moving forward, I kind of want to see more shadow drops, because not every game needs to have gatekeepers telling you how crappy it will be, only to be wrong. Right? Let us all experience it. It's a beautiful thing. I recently saw, like, now the reviewers are coming back around on it. A lot of high 9s and stuff. It's getting the love it deserves. But you feel like, had it not come out this way, and maybe it had been that long tail of promotion and this and that, maybe it would have gotten skewed with clicks and this and that. Everyone getting a chance to just kind of try it at the same time really, really gave it a different element, right? You couldn't be the gatekeeper anymore that goes, you won't like this, because somebody will go, buddy, I played it and you were absolutely wrong, right? It is so good, so well done, so well executed. I was talking with my co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga, about this, and I think the reason why it is so expertly executed is because no one knew about it. No one heard about it. They had a chance to start, middle, end, put pen down. No one had still heard about it. Oh, it's not working right. Let's go back and clean it up again. No one's listening. No one's giving them any pressure to make sure it's done. Where is it? Hey, where's my Starfield? Damn it. No, right? It's just quiet. They get to work in relaxation and finish this thing and really tune it finally and go, okay, we are done now. And I hope that's the lesson they take moving forward. We need more of those things. I love hearing when things are in the cook. I'm a technologist. I love that stuff. You know, you peel the curtain back. I am there for me. Show me all the wireframe. I'm good, right? But if you want to make this thing shine and you feel like you need time, I don't want to hear about it. Go off, do your thing, because this proves to me that once that's done, you know, how long has that game been released now? Has there been a patch? I doubt there's been a patch.
There has been zero.
It has been solid since day one, and they've had no need. This is like old school Nintendo perfect drop, even though it looks like a Sega game, right?
Yeah.
So all in all, I think it is absolutely fantastic. I've heard a lot of the talks about, oh, it harkens from Sunset Overdrive. I see it borrowing some elements or visual elements from there. Sure, I see it borrowing some elements from what do you call it? Jet Set Radio, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Jet Set Radio Future specifically is one of my favorite games of all time. You know, I hear it borrowing from there a little bit, but 2 minutes in, and you like, yes, it borrowed. Yes, there's even talk of Devil May Cry and all the combos in this, all true statements, right? And if you check interviews with the director who's making the rounds, he'll tell you freely that those were some of the influences. Play it for 5 minutes. It transcends its inspirations right off the bat. It is its own thing, and it is a singularly focused, perfect little piece of art. I think it's amazing. That's my review.
Absolutely. To your point as well, I think even the marketing team at Xbox said the same thing. They said, like, shadow drops aren't going to work for every game, but it's something that we're interested in looking at going forward. And I think this was used as kind of a test bed for them for releases. I think the perfect example is the likes of Hi-Fi Rush. It's a passion project. If you've got passion projects bubbling away that you don't need to give that big marketing spiel to, that's a perfect point. Like the Grounded could have been a shadow drop, for instance. Pentiment could have been a shadow drop. I think.
You know what, man? I don't care. Even like take Starfield, right? Take Starfield. I'm not saying shadow drop it, but finish the game before you start marketing it.
Yeah.
Finish it. I know it's difficult. I know what I'm asking for is so difficult. But once you finish the game and you can actually put pen down and then you market it, it means when you release it, you've done everything you needed to do. The pressure is off. And what you show people is what you really want to show people. And not this is as good as we could while you were rushing to give it to us, put it in your hands. No need to go back in day 1 and day 15 patches. This, even if the shadow drop idea is not what's taken from this, what should be taken from this is if you give them enough time and not pressure them, they will make something excellent for you. And that's the lesson that should be taken away from this. Even with the big games, right? You want to market the heck out of it? Sure, do so after it's done, right? Rather than in the middle of it's working and we're thinking about it and, there's a 30 frames per second trailer and all this. Come on now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's not only, I think that the weirdest thing was, and again, you touched on it there, is the fact not only did they manage to shadow drop this game, which is now on the Game of the Year lists of many people. When people started saying this is Game of the Year, people were mocking them straight away, and they go, come on, it's the beginning of the year, how can it be Game of the Year? And then pretty much a lot of the sites and a lot of the people that had reviewed it and played it on the back end, when actually, this is a game that will be stuck in my mind for the Game of the Year.
Yep.
And that's
Absolutely.
the thing.
Yeah.
I hope there's DLC, be strategic, guys. Drop DLC half the year through. Maybe DLC towards the end of the year. Because we all know the idea of hey, the game started really hot in the beginning, but come December timeframe, people just recency bias. You forget how amazing that game was, right? We hear Hitman was susceptible to that. People loved it. Came time for award season, people forgot about that. Drop some strategic, DLCs, because we will remember how amazing this game is. I think it is phenomenal, absolutely.
I think a surprise factor could help carry it to Game of the Year.
I hope so. Yeah.
It's a good point, actually. There's not many, especially like you say how polished this game was. Like it's it's unfathomable. It dropped 4K 60 on X Series X, 4K 60 on PC, 1440p 60 on Series S, like 2K 60. Not a singular drop.
720p 60 on this guy.
Yeah,
Plays solid, like amazing.
Solid
It's
as a
amazing,
rock.
yeah.
It's phenomenal, and there's, like you mentioned, zero patches, not even a single patch required for the game. There's literally no bugs. There's nothing.
Go
No one's
figure.
encountered a bug.
But that's how you should like launch a game, you know.
I know it's
Like,
weird that
I really
we're all
agree.
shouting about it, isn't it? We're like, I can't believe
You know?
patch.
You don't remember the first day patch of Mario Brothers 3? What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Like, especially when the large majority of games in this day and age launch in that broken now, fixed later mentality. This should really set the bar for how games should launch.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because I think if like you said, Jen, if you like do a patch after a few months, if the game already launches like shit, people forget about the game and don't care about the patch that's coming out. Like for example,
especially if it's in-
Cyberpunk. You know, in the beginning it was really hard for people to play it, and they did a lot of patches and stuff. But I didn't have that problem because I bought the game like a year and a half later.
Yeah.
When they already launched the patch on it. So and
Yeah,
And you probably got a great discount too on an
especially
amazing game.
more like that. Most people would, if this game had come out in Game Pass and had launched broken, most people wouldn't come back to that in Game Pass. They'd be like, okay, that time's passed.
Yep.
They didn't. It launched perfectly in Game Pass, and everyone's been praising it from the highest mountains, pretty much. And that's how games should launch in Game Pass.
I mean, look what happened to Crossfire X. It got canceled. Today was announced it got canceled. And that's a game that came out totally broken. I mean,
Launched in Game Pass and barely worked day one.
Yep. Now it's gone. Gone.
I think we even played that game, Dutch.
Yeah, we did.
Crossfire X, yeah.
Yeah, it took you. You were the one that figured out how to get the controls into a somewhat usable state. And we used them for a bit. It was okay, but then we jumped on it.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, goodbye.
The campaign was nothing to call home about, unfortunately. You know, cautionary tale there. That Crossfire X, indeed.
Yeah,
I didn't even play it because I was scared that it was going to crash my Xbox. I was like, I'm not playing this.
I mean, like I say, the campaign was like serviceable, but it wasn't anything to write home about. It was just your generic single player shooter campaign. It wasn't like, oh, what's happened? Oh, look at this twist. It wasn't none of that.
Here's the weird thing, though. Isn't in China like successful? That game is successful in China or no?
Massive. It's up there with CS:GO in China. It's
Really?
That's the OG version, though. That's Crossfire, right? They basically took the code base of Crossfire and consoleized it for Crossfire X. The OG Crossfire is still like ridiculously popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember when they put out the beta for Crossfire X, and you didn't have the ADS. And from that moment, I already said, okay, this is not a game for me. But then after they launched it with the ADS also, I quite like it. But like Dutch said, it was like unhandleable sometimes, and
With
totally.
your cool, weird, like class suits, they jump out at you with the little knives, and it was just it had a flash, but it wasn't meant to last, unfortunately.
Yeah,
No.
completely agree. I'm so thankful
Quick
that I
and
only
like a camera flash.
I only paid like 20 for, because I got the campaign to get the second campaign, so I paid 20 for it. I am so glad the game was only 20. Like, if I drop out, if that game was like a 70 pound or $70 game, I would have been furious at the state it was in, but it was nothing. So thankfully that's well gone. It's only 20 quid, so I'm not massively frustrated about it.
No.
But it is what it is. It is where it is. Speaking of glorious games, though, Web Dave, what's your thoughts on Hi-Fi Rush?
Well, it was okay. No, I'm just, I'm looking at your face, after all the praise.
You're
you
so
know,
serious.
oh, yes, that was hard. No, dude.
Says the drummer. Nah, I doubt
No,
that.
it was a fantastic game. It is a fantastic game. I will continue to play it. I haven't beaten it yet. I just dabbled it here or there, but kind of bounced back and forth between the vampire game and so. But yeah, it's man, it's really good, really well done. And even though I'm a drummer, I'm kind of an older guy, not quite the reflexes I used to have as far as gaming goes. So it's kind of nice that it's a little forgiving. There's certain games that are more merciless when it comes to your coordination, and if you don't do right, you ain't getting anywhere. And but this is kind of like it kind of sets it up for the bonus scores, or as it were, adds to the to it. I like the way they did it, and it's something good for all ages, even us old people. But yeah, no, it's it's a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. This could be something that would be maybe in the sequel or whatever, if they make some kind of multiplayer. That would be nice. I think I think it definitely could. Two people could tear it up and have a lot of fun, especially in the boss fights. That'd be nice.
Awesome
Maybe
co-op,
drop in and
yeah.
drop out.
That would be cool.
Just a thought, but because to be honest, I mean, there's really, I can't think of any way to make it better. And the
that's a
simple
good point.
things they did in it, the simple thing like making it so that like you can stream it and have it to where the music changes, so when you're online, it's not copyrighted and struck everywhere. For streamers and people who like to play online, to show off gaming and stuff, every game should do that. Period.
Although, Dave,
Okay.
I do appreciate you bringing that up, because that's where I give Metal Hellsinger just the teeny tiniest bit of up over this one.
Yep.
They
Okay.
actually created these tunes and made them streamable. Right?
Yeah.
I wish this was able to do that. I know not all of them are able to, but that made Metal Hellsinger, that gave me the slow clap for Metal Hell. You never see that happen, right?
Right.
I wish they
Right.
could have done that here too, but no, I do agree with you. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's some of the tracks that they used for this game as well. They were like mega songs. Like they're not just
Yeah.
standard. They're like huge
Yeah.
chart hits. Like again, getting
Mhm.
Invaders Must Die on there from Prodigy. Especially the way they used it as well, which was specifically on a mission where you go into the tower and you kind of you are the invader. It made complete sense. Like all the tracks synced up perfectly to the type of the condition you were in and the area you were in and the timing and things like that. It's just so well done.
So very, very well done. And I like the characters and the cat and things like that. That were my daughter, she's 22 now, but she loves that kind of stuff. This game, she loves rhythm games. She plays all kinds of dance games and stuff, and Guitar Hero type games, but handheld stuff that are out for a lot of them, which are out there. A lot of the, I guess the Japanese games that some of them aren't even in the U.S.
There are a lot of rhythm games out there, yeah.
But she gets into all those, and so this was like a nice kind of that's cool. I can play a game that Dad plays too. So it makes it nice. I even fired up Gamepass for. Hopefully that family plan will come soon. But I was like, you know what? I can't wait here. Just just 3 months, go play, and she's been rocking it out. So it's got all different levels. It's really nice that pretty much if you're a hardcore gamer or you're just a casual gamer, it's the kind of game you can get into and have fun with.
Yeah,
I like it.
Perfectly put. And they've got numerous amounts of difficulty levels, ranging from easy all the way up to Rhythm Master. And obviously, depending on which one, becomes, of course, a little bit more harsh on how your timing is. Obviously, Rhythm Master, you've got to be pretty much perfect on the beat.
So basically, Chiasante to Web Dave level. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Chiasante is the beat master, and I'm not so good.
100%.
I doubt that, sir. I doubt that. He says with his drum and his Kiss poster behind him, "Get out of here, man! What are you doing?"
What?
Well, that's the thing though, Santi, as well. Like both, like I've done a lot of mixing, like much like you have. Obviously, used to be a DJ as well. So in terms of beat matching and rhythm and things like that, you're kind of used to doing the beat matching, so you're used to getting into it. So I think anybody who's done any form of kind of DJ work would be quite easily getting into this game. Obviously,
Yep.
beat matching is what you do.
If
all
you
the
have
time.
rhythm, you can play this game. Even if you're not a gamer, if you
Yes.
have rhythm, you can play this game. It's that simple. And
Even
the
if you
best thing
don't.
about it is if you don't have rhythm, they really have good assistants to kind of help you, you know. So it's a good game. I think they did a good job. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
They make fun of you a little bit, but it's also
Yeah,
very funny.
100%. Patchu, what about yourself, brother? What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on Hi-Fi Rush?
The game is really good. I haven't beat it yet. I've been jumping on all different games last few days if I had some time, but yeah, so far I'm enjoying this game really much. During the show, I got the first impression. You always have a first impression, you know. I was like, okay, a game with music, and I was like, I don't know, you know. But then you said to me, you really need to play it. It's really good. So, and as you said, I downloaded directly and started the game. And yeah, so far, like every minute, I've even took moments to stand still and just listen to the music, see the things that moves around you in the area on the beats. And yeah, it's really, really good. The colors just pop off of your screen, you know, like it's crazy. So yeah, I'm enjoying this game really much.
Yeah, it's
For
like,
what I played so far,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't.
Oh, Pat, the good news is the game continues to get better the further you go. It's like it intentionally slow and then building and building and building. And the last, as Jen will get into, the last 3 missions are just insane. Like so much fun, so well done.
Yeah,
But the attention to detail, as you mentioned there, though, with everything in the environment. There was a guy that posted, actually, I think it was either Japan or China, posted a clip of how accessible the game is, even for those who don't want the music on. So when you turn the music
yeah,
off,
I've seen that. Yeah,
turn the music off, the entire environment anyway is still making its noises to the beat. So you can even play the music with nothing on and you'll still beat to the beat. It's all good.
yeah.
Have you guys seen the videos of like the ridiculous 100 some odd hit combos you can do in that game?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah.
No,
Amazing.
not
Yep.
seen that yet.
Absolutely. I was like, yeah, I missed the locomotion a little bit of a game like Sunset Overdrive in that game, and then I realized they have that locomotion. You just got to get good with the combos. You can traverse the whole level with that thing. It's
You know what
great.
it is? It is unbelievably satisfying as well when you do get a combo going and you start like air juggling them and you're like, what else can I do? How else can I do this? It's just so much fun. But yeah, and I've seen a lot of them guys that are really good at the game just going straight into the practice arena because obviously you can go into training. If you go and speak to, I keep forgetting her name, the character's name.
Peppermint.
Yes, Peppermint. If you go to Peppermint and speak to her, you can go training, and that's literally what they're doing. They're going in there, practicing all the moves and how many combos they can get, and then taking that into the main game. And it's
Yeah,
just
it turns into its own little Mortal Kombat. Get your move list going and go out there. It's really good. Although if you want to, you could just mash your way through the game and still, as long as you're on beat, you're good. But if you really want to get technical, you can pull off some really interesting combos. It's a very, very satisfying game with that. It's really good.
oh,
Yeah.
100%.
And what I really do like is that you see him entering this like kind of audition, you know, like area, and he's listening to music, and you know he loves music, you know, and when you continue this cutscene, you know, you guys already know he gets his MP3 player on his chest, and that means that music comes from the heart, you know, and that's one of the things that's really great about this game, because this guy really loves music and it comes from his heart. So yeah, and then it's freaking cool how they put this together.
It's interesting you bring that up, Pacha. That's another missed opportunity. Where the hell is my Zune? Huh? It should have been a Zune on his test. Come on now. That would have been amazing. Come on. Big old Zune logo would have been absolutely amazing. But okay, it's still good.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's the way the game looks, the things that they thought about. It's really amazing. And once you're playing it, you're also like sitting, bumping your head a little bit and your foot, and Well, I had that too, but
It's the
yeah,
same.
it's really
Same with
cool.
us. You just end up.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't resist the head bob or the feet
Yeah.
tapping.
It's
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah.
If you
Your
don't have
knees
the
while
head
you-
bob or the
while
foot
you're
tapping,
playing.
you can't play the game. You have to do that. It helps with the rhythm of the timing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Crazy, Louis. You've had a chance to dip into it as well for a bit. What's your thoughts on it so far?
Man, I'd say something though. I jumped into it. I played I think it was 30 minutes of it. And man, I was just loving that game. I mean, wow. Like what Patrick was saying, how everything is just mixed with the rhythm. You got the stages also mixed with the rhythm. I love the guy, how he snaps his finger, He just keeps snapping his finger. I'm like, oh my God, that is so cool. And just everything about that game, the detail, oh my God, it looks freaking gorgeous. And what I love about it is what Kea Santa was saying is that, wow, this game Shadow Drop, it did not have any issues. It's amazing. It's actually been a while that we once sit down and play a game without any issues, no glitches, no patches, nothing. It's just amazing how this game came out. Just out of nowhere, beautiful, details are awesome, and the story, my God, I mean, I'm telling you, just how about you were saying that you go into an audition and all of a sudden, you get into this huge mess. And man, wow, the bad guys to the beat, everything. It's amazing how this game is so well synchronized with everything. It's amazing, man. I'm in love with it. I can't wait, to sit down and actually play it after I'm done with Red Dead Redemption, or I don't know, but man, I just look at how long it takes to beat. It's 9 to 10 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna probably grab it and just sit there and play it to finish it off. But man, it's just an awesome game. Just an awesome game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it took me just shy of 9 hours. It was 8 hours 59 something. But that was literally because obviously, thankfully, afterwards you can have a look at your high scores and your stage times. And my stage times were just shy of 9 hours. So when I was in there and going actually playing the game and not just sitting on the couch and things like that, it took 9 hours.
So I got a question for you. Since you beat Metal Hellsinger, I'm in close to beating it. With the rhythm, which is which game between these games, which has a better rhythm to it? Does this one have a better rhythm than Metal Hellsinger, or
They are both rhythm games, but Metal Hellsinger is for those who are fighting literally on the rhythm. If you don't hit it on the beat on Metal Hellsinger, you will not attack. You don't hurt anything when you don't hit it on the beat. So it's very much you have to be good at rhythm games to play Metal Hellsinger. And I can understand why people didn't click with it, because for people without rhythm, you can't actually enjoy the game that much. Although the music is phenomenal.
And let's be clear, Dutch. When we're talking metal, that's complicated rhythm, not simple.
Yeah,
rhythm.
and
So that really is a high standard.
The good thing about this game.
No.
So the good thing about this game is every track is to the same beat. It doesn't speed up. It doesn't get slower. It's always that same. Always the same beat all the way through. Like even though it changes the songs, they're all to the same rhythm. They're
It's
all
still
to
the same timing.
beats per minute.
Yep.
There's no change in that. Whereas on Metal Hellsinger, every level is a different beats per minute. So you've got to resync yourself and get used to the new beat, and then play it again. And again, thankfully, it's a score attack game in Metal Hellsinger, so you can go back and you can play and improve on it, but it's far less forgiving. Whereas Hi-Fi Rush, you don't have to hit the beat to actually enjoy the game. If you hit the beat, you get bonuses. So you actually do more damage, and you get like good rhythms and higher combos and higher scores, but you don't have to actually just play the game and have fun. So that is, I would say, for anybody
Have you
who
noticed
wants
that
to...
if you dash to the beat, you can dash all three?
Yes.
Like you can do all the dashes as long as it's on the beat. If you dash and it's not to the beat, you can only do one. Everything is like given more agency, more promotion, more points if you do it to. It's so intelligently done. It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're dashing as well, the dash actually protects your score. So when you're trying to keep your combos up and keep that rating up to like A or S level, try just dashing to the beat. If you're not attacking anybody, dash around, and it keeps that score up so it doesn't drop to the next one.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know
yeah,
I didn't know that. I
that.
did not
You
know
can
that.
keep the combo going for a long time. Just keep dashing to the beat, to the rhythm. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's little
Is-
tips and tricks, but yeah, and even jumping. If you jump into the beat, that's exactly the same thing. As long
Yep.
as it's on the beat, you're keeping that bonus up because it's hitting it on the beat. So it gives you like an incentive to try and beat match. As long as you kind of attempt it or try to get close to it, then it's awesome. And again, when you're doing the attacks and things, of course, thankfully the third attack, if you're on the 3 beats and you get to that third attack, gives you that time to kind of focus on and get that final attack off. So as long as you're doing that, and it is
Okay.
forgiven on the circle as well, so you don't have to hit it directly on the circle. But I would say you're better off hitting it slightly late than you are trying to hit it early. If you hit it early, you'll miss it. If you hit it slightly late, you'll hit it. It's a weird concept, but it's a bit more forgiving that way, which makes it a lot more playable for the general public. Which is another reason is why I think it's actually getting under people's skin so much in a good way. Like why people are loving it so much, because it is accessible to a lot more than Metal Hellsinger was. And again, I loved Metal Hellsinger, but I've got rhythm and I can beat match. So when I was in a role, I was good and I was having fun and it was awesome, like shotgun and shotgun and shotgun. But it was used on Metal Hellsinger. You've got, specifically if you're using a shotgun, you've got to think to shoot every 2 beats, not every beat. And that's how you do this.
Kind of like the heavy weapon in
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But oh god, the entire thing. But yeah, Louis, it just progressively gets better. Like the wolf boss was probably my favorite in the game. Like that wolf boss is just so good in the way that it does it, like all the way through, especially the Wolfgang Gartner's Fifth Symphony. Like that version of that track is
That was amazing.
Jesus Christ. And it's just the way he does it as well, where he's like, let's go to the other room where the neighbors can't hear us, and then smashes you through the wall. You're like, oh god, it's like this is so good. Oh, I could just gush over it all the time.
I also got a question for you guys. This is actually a really good question. Is after you guys played this game, because I'm telling you, all you all been saying is really exciting how in love you are with this game. I want to know your thoughts on this. Is Xbox ready to compete with quality games against PlayStation?
If this is for me specifically, I'm going to answer this only on the passion projects front. I don't know about AAAs, but and what we've seen from specifically the passion projects, if you have a look at Grounded, if you have a look at Pentiment, if you have a look at Hi-Fi Rush, all of these,
Absolutely.
aside from Grounded, which released kind of in a beta phase, should we say, all the way up until its initial release, where they dropped the entire story, even then, the polish on that game was super high. Like, super high. And all they did throughout its updates until its 1.0 release was just add more features and add more features and add more features until it came out. And even now, the bugs on it are like minor, where like it's things you can't predict. Like, if you put so many fruit in a certain area on Grounded, there'll be loads of ants gather, and then it just takes up so many resources in the background that the CPU and the GPU are just like, what is going on over here? And it's loading in like thousands of ants on this like fruit colony. But that's not something you could have predicted, so it's like, that's a weird glitch. Okay, we'll try and sort that out. But aside from that, Pentiment released super polished and was absolutely adored by those who love that kind of niche genre. Hi-Fi Rush come out, super polished, 0 patches, absolutely adored by everyone that's played it. If this is an example of how good these passion projects are, and we're going to get more of these passion projects, then I am more excited to see what we don't know about that these teams are working on than what we do know about. And the polish, I think, specifically for these games, where they haven't got the pressure of marketing, they haven't got the pressure, as Santia said, this release date, and nobody knows about it, and it just, whoop, there you go, it's available. And you're just like, what is this? And you play it, and it works first time because it hasn't had a set time frame to release by. I mean, this game was pretty much, I think from what we heard, this game was done at the Game Awards. It was done. It was finished. But they chose not to, and then later down the line, the team were like, well, how about we just drop it at the developer direct, and they were like, "Are you sure? Like, are you confident?" They were like, "Yeah, yeah. Like, game's done." Like, got it.
It was supposed to be announced before COVID. Go figure, right? They initially started the game in earnest, trying to be the normal model. Oh, we'll announce it, and then right before COVID, they were planning, and then of course COVID and all that, and eventually it kind of dropped this way. It's serendipitous. It's great. It's really good. Yeah.
And that's maybe also the reason why the game is so good when they dropped it, because they had 2 years for maybe fixing stuff, and
Yep.
nobody knew about this. So,
Nobody knew about it. Pacha wasn't on YouTube or Twitter going, "Where's my game? You said it was going to come out last year. What the hell is?" You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was doing that, so they could just chill and do what they're doing and be done. It's such a good game. It really is. Yeah.
And I tell you what also took me by surprise is the quality of the acting from every character. Like even the bosses and the enemies and every character was lovable. Like I loved every character. Every boss had a really unique characteristic. They were fun.
Yep.
Like they were silly. I just enjoyed all of them. All of them were very unique, very well acted, very well animated. I've got to give hats off to the studio here because they did voice dubbing and all of that in all of the languages. So if you're going to play it in Japanese, the voice outside of cutscenes, because that's the only thing where it's English lip sync. The entire game is lip synced to each individual language. It's also been all the subtitled, everything in the game for each individual language has been done separately. So the game, in terms of localization, for no matter what language you're playing it on, has been synchronized for that language. It's phenomenal. That is such a high cost as well, getting localization. Not just like when you're doing it 1 or 2, but if you're localizing and getting actors from every country to do every language that you've got in the game, and then lip syncing the characters for every language that you've got in the game, that is such a next level approach to doing localization. I don't think we've seen many, if any, games doing that level of localization for a long time.
Sorry, guys.
Peacemaker, I love it.
I am not surprised at all that is his ringtone. Absolutely. That's good.
That honestly made me jump.
Crazy Lord, can you do the dance? That's all I want to know.
Oh, I'm almost done with it. I'm getting it down.
We'll see it on Twitter at some point.
Yes, you will.
Wait for that
Yes, you
video.
But Jen, I want to ask you a question as well, because we've spoke about the game and how much we love it and everything like that. But the side thing was kind of what this game was based on, and it's probably one of the things that you loved most about it, and that is the fact that this guy is a huge Edgar Wright fan, and the vast majority of this game was built on Edgar Wright tropes, watching things like the Shaun of the Dead bar scene, which was where the game idea come from. That was the pitch. The pitch was Shaun of the Dead and this specific bar scene where he's hitting the zombie over the head with a pool cue to the music.
Yep.
That was
It's where they're going around in the circle, hitting the zombie with the pool cues.
Yeah.
That surprised me when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Because Shaun of the Dead is my favorite movie of all time. It's a reason why I got that framed by Frame a Game. So yeah, it's like you can see all the Edgar Wright inspiration in this. Like I get vibes of Scott Pilgrim from the Scott Pilgrim movie.
The greatest movies ever made. Come at me.
Agreed.
Yep.
Scott Pilgrim
Edgar
versus
Wright-
the World.
Love that film.
Edgar Wright always has this amazing soundtrack for every one of his movies, even if it's not a movie of his that isn't so great, like The World's End. That one wasn't so good. But he always picks a great soundtrack to go with his movies. And I feel that was some of the inspiration here too, that they really picked carefully what songs they were going to put in. So yeah, I loved the inspiration for all the Edgar Wright stuff there. Like you can tell it's heavily inspiration. Its inspiration comes heavily from a lot of his movies. And I think one of them is obviously Scott Pilgrim.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. Shaun of the Dead,
Absolutely.
Scott Pilgrim, a lot of them things. Even when you're fighting, and I keep forgetting the guy's name, he's the guy with the kind of green kind of tentacle things coming off his head. Like there's a little section where he does that, like, he's shouting at him and things, and then there's like a JoJo reference comes on the screen, and a lot of people are like, "What?" Like, you even went as far to put a JoJo reference in this. There's so many little sneaky references that are put in the
There's a Dreamcast reference in it. There's just a lot of really interesting. I think I even to your point about Edgar Wright, it gave me strong Baby Driver vibes at some
Yes,
point.
that
like
was also
there's
one
just
of
so
those
much
things.
there,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but yeah, the entire game, like I say, it's super well polished. You could tell it was a passion project, something that they loved creating and loved working on. And another hats off is congrats to the studio for doing something entirely different, like literally Uno reverse of what they usually create. They went from creating horror games
Yep.
and ghost games to creating a beat matching, like cell shaded rhythm beat 'em up.
Yeah. And huge salute to Microsoft for allowing them to do that. Right? They've been allowing studios left and right to kind of do the passion project. Hence my sadness, not to derail, but hearing that Coalition may not be doing their passion project and going straight to Gear 6. While I'm a huge Gears fan, I'm looking forward to 6. I wanted to see a passion project from the Coalition.
Yeah.
Let these guys do more passion projects, because it seems that whenever they do passion projects, that's the best stuff, right? Look at where Halo is while we're talking about Hi-Fi Rush. You know what I mean?
Halo feels
Right?
like it's lost its passion.
Or
agree.
maybe Asante, or maybe they were hiding it for to shadow drop it one day. They could do that.
I mean, Halo has a lot of Stankonia on it right now. It might need to go away for a while and come back as a drop at some point. Unless you shadow drop a version of like ODST on me, then I'm there, right? Well, we shall see.
No, I'm talking about the Collision game that's rumored. Maybe
That's what you mean. Yeah.
they're hiding it.
You had Grub News talk about how the layoffs and this and that, and because of that, but to your point, Dutch, every time they release something that's not on the main road, if you will, it's the best stuff, right? I think they should take the hint and stop putting so much emphasis on the mainstream big AAA tentpole, because it's not coming to. It's kind of like the DCEU trying to thread everything, and it doesn't work for you. Just try to do something else, right? Microsoft and Xbox seems to shine when they just let their devs go free and let them finish their thing, and they'll release it when they want. They don't all hit. I'm looking at you, Ninja Theory, and what they released. But the fact that the $2 trillion company said, "Hey, go for it. It may work. Most may not." I think that's really commendable. They should keep doing that.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord, are you talking about that game from Ninja Theory? What's it called? Oh Lord.
Oh God,
The
name. I've removed that name from my psyche, because as soon as I
one.
played it, I was like, "This is not going to exist anymore."
A different one. But yeah, I 100% agree. It's kind of the final end of that. Marketing wise, I think we've all said it. If this game had released, or at least been teased months ago, I don't think it would have had the same impact. As much as the game would have still been as great, I think the fact that it was shadow dropped and surprised a lot of people, got it trending, and it was trending for days on end, and everybody was talking about it because everybody just played it. There was no like, "Oh, look at that trailer, that's coming out in 3 months." And then people forget about it, and then you don't see the trailer again until launch day, and then you're like, "Oh, this game's out. Okay, let's try this." It was just, here it is, and now you can play it. You're like, what? It already looked amazing, but I can play it like straight away. You count me in. But not only that, the fact that it released pretty much everywhere. It released on Epic Games, on Steam, on PC Game Pass, on Xbox Game Pass, and on Steam it outsold, as we've mentioned there, without slighting or trying to slight Forspoken, but you're outselling a $70 game when you're a $30 game more than 2 to 1. In terms of revenue made, it outsold that game significantly. And it was in the top.
And its price point was only $30.
$30, and it was only, I think it was ranked 4th in the top sellers list, and that was only behind, I think, Dead Space, technically because it had 5 versions, Dead Space and Hogwarts. Hogwarts has remained up there as one of the top sellers despite only being pre-order. And Dead Space, of course, had like 95 versions because they have the Dead Space regular, Dead Space pre-order, Dead Space X Deluxe, Dead Space Deluxe pre-order. That's how Steam works. They count all them SKUs differently. So it was about third or fourth on the list of top-selling games out of everything on Steam. Phenomenal work. And the one that they were most proud of, a lot of them, and I know IGN gave it a 9 today in its rank, but IGN Japan, which is the one I would say is the most prominent one for them, gave it a solid 10 and called it a masterpiece.
Yep.
That's the one that needed a hit, is the Japanese set. This is perfect. Not only have Microsoft needed that Japanese sector, they've only got one Japanese studio, and the first game they released from that Japanese studio under Xbox has been
a perfect 10.
a masterpiece. And perfect for the Japanese market. It's an anime, it's got cool characters, it's got perfect lip sync Japanese dub, it's got Japanese actors in it.
It's got this cool, weird, like Enter the Spider-Verse like animation effects where they take frames away and he stutters as he walks. It's just so good. It's really, really good.
Oh God, yeah. I could rant and rave about it all night long because I love that game.
Welcome to Hi-Fi Rush, the podcast.
Yep, exactly.
I absolutely love the art style. Like that cel-shaded style of art style needs to be used more in gaming, in my opinion.
Absolutely,
it's just something so special.
Now, it makes the games last forever. I still to this day, reason why it's one of my favorites, still play your Jet Set Radios and Jet Set Radio Future. It looks like it did the first day it came out. Doesn't look bad. Hence the Dreamcast comparisons, right? It really has this everlasting look to it. It's excellent. Absolutely.
And that's a funny thing. Like, I've seen a lot of people going, "Oh, well, I'm so good at not getting a Jet Set Radio." I'm like, you are? It's just not called Jet Set Radio.
I hope so.
Like, people keep forgetting about Bum Rush Cyberpunk.
I know. Well, because it's hard to pronounce.
I'm like,
and the music better be good.
What?
Yep. Well, okay, I said and the music better be good, but then I remembered the composer of Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future is working on that game as well. So hopefully it's and of course nothing happens in a vacuum. I'm sure the Bomb Funk folks are playing Hi-Fi Rush right now, going, "We got to step up our game, ladies and gentlemen." You know.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal. And obviously we've been speaking about it there, but the one thing I kind of want to touch on more is the passion project side of things as kind of a next topic. And it's becoming more and more apparent, specifically this generation, that Xbox has decided to invest far more in passion projects. That's not just from first-party studios, but if you have a look at the way that, and granted it's had its issues, but High on Life, if you have a look at Psychonauts 2 and what they wanted to create and what they wouldn't have been able to create without Microsoft's help, which was Psychonauts 2, of course, it would have been nowhere near as what it was without their assistance. They would have had to remove the vast majority of the boss battles and things like that from the game. Do we think that the future of Xbox could potentially be heavily reliant on these passion projects, more so than the AAAs? Jen, what do you think first?
I do, yes. I mean, after the surprise of this coming out of nowhere, it makes me want Microsoft to lean more into these smaller passion projects that could come out of the blue. Hopefully that's a thing, and we really don't know if the large majority of their studios that they have now are actually working on passion projects. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're getting that other game from the coalition like KSante mentioned, and that's disappointing. But we don't know what any of the other studios are working on, really, and that excites me more than anything, that really, at any point in time, we could see an announcement from one of the other studios in Xbox, and they go, "Oh, we've got a game coming out in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, or a month's time."
Heck,
and that
we got a game coming out in 5 minutes. Here you go.
exactly. Like they could pull this trick whenever they wanted if they play their cards right, and the games are done, and the games are in good condition, bug free. They could launch a game tomorrow, for all we know.
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the exciting things, I think, as well. Asante, do you think it would be kind of a good idea to maybe keep these passion projects completely under wrap. Just focus on all of these AAAs and
Yeah.
talking about the market on them, and use these passion projects as these shadow drops every now and again. Just boop, there's another one.
Yeah. I completely agree. I really do. I think like as soon as as soon as I put this game down, I haven't really put it down, but every time I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, they need to allow all these teams. This should we're talking about Elden Ring and how Elden Ring has influenced the gaming market, right? And when some people are like, oh, the influence is great, and other people think, oh, the influence might not be so great. I hope that this influence goes into their various studios and goes, okay, every one of you has a job that we want you to make. What about the ones that you want to make? Let's have that conversation, because as you can see, every time they get their passion project out, it tends to outshine the big dogs. It just does, right? Even the third parties one, right? They all tend to outshine the big dogs. And it seems that so far, and to your point about is that something they should move forward with? I think that's the enabler that Game Pass brings, right? Not every game has to be the tip of the spear. Not every game has to be the best-selling thing in the world, right? Some of them can be weird niche Pentiment-like titles that people who love that kind of genre can really get into. Not everything is huge budget, marketed for 5 years. No, and that's awesome. That's exactly what we want in this space. I know, people on the net and people always talking about, oh, where's the bangers? Where's this? I am happy to play these indie and passion projects all the time. Like, I am happy with it. Somebody asked me what next year or 2023 was going to bring, and I told them, had you told me in 2021 that 2022 I would have put Vampire Survivors above all, I would have laughed you in the face, even while seeing the game, because that game looked like trash. But I am still hooked on that game. It's still in my rotation, right? So, and the year before it was what? It was Death's Door. There's always the weird little niche things that come out that you didn't expect, right? So this teaches me, and I'm hoping it teaches Microsoft, because they're really trying to push, right? They're really, really trying to push. I hope this teaches them that you don't always have to lead the consumer by the hand and say, see this thing, lead this big, huge monster thing, this is what you want. No, let the developers who have that passion to make something unique, let them do that, right? Let them go as far as they can with it. They don't all succeed. Not all of them are like slated to be 10 out of 10 bangers, but more often than not, you've seen that is actually exactly what's happening, right? That's exactly what's happening. So I really hope that, as you're saying, allow all the various teams to have their passion projects, allow them to go as far as they want with it, and give them the room to breathe to finish them. Just give them the room to breathe. You don't have to tell anybody. I'm actually there's just a little bit of disappointment, because I don't know how far that story got, but I think it was Grubb. Yeah, Jeff Grubb kind of leaked this game like a week before it came out. Oh, it's going to be there, he said, right? And of course, at that time, all we knew was HiFi Rush. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what it meant, right? Imagine had that thing dropped out of nowhere and you hadn't heard about it. The name wasn't anywhere in existence, right? It's excellent that this is what's happening right now. And I really hope that, Microsoft and the powers that be there at Xbox are paying close attention, which it seems they are, and we get more of that. That'd be really, really good. I'm excited about the future of the unknown games.
Yeah, there's that one thing I want to mention about like what Netflix are doing, and I know Netflix aren't in good headlines at the moment because of the dumb stuff they're doing. But usually Netflix announce smaller projects only a couple weeks before they hit their service, and they should do more of this with Xbox with the smaller games like HiFi Rush that have the potential to become huge. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And on your point about Netflix, somebody give Netflix a call. We need a TV show like yesterday.
Yes, please.
Yep. Yes, we do.
HiFi Rush anime.
Same team that did Edge Runners.
Yep.
Come on, go.
If they were smart, they'd set it between the potential sequel and the original game.
Yeah. Yep. And the good thing is about this, specifically HiFi Rush, is that the avenue that can go down for the story is literally whatever they want it to be. You've got your main cast of characters now. By the time you get to the end, you've got your team, you've got your powers and your abilities and things like that. Like, when you get to the end, there's no guarantee that this guy is gone, the main bad guy. So they could expand on that, and
No spoilers.
no spoilers exactly. They could expand on the story, the original story, and show where it is, but it's left open
Yeah,
to interpretation.
Mr. Joanna Dark will appreciate this. If Netflix can make Sonic a TV show worth watching, and yes, the new Sonic TV show is actually pretty good, they can do something with Hi-Fi Rush. Let's
Absolutely.
go.
You only need to say Sonic one more time, and Hertog Vin's going to show up.
Yeah.
Well, if I say it twice, Everborn will like creep up over here going, what? This is what he does.
Dave, do you think then, specifically for this, is this something that you foresee Microsoft looking at on Hi-Fi Rush and its success, specifically, and thinking, I think we've got something here, if specifically on these passion projects fronts, this is something we can work with going forwards? Do you think this is something that they're paying like much more attention to now and thinking, God, that worked far better than we anticipated, actually?
Yeah, I mean, they'd be foolish not to. And this is the time where Microsoft, Xbox, Phil Spencer are more open to other ideas and open to other avenues. Now, I think they still need a balance. AAA, hardcore, games. We need those. We need the Starfields. We need those games, coming. But if we can, I say we. If we, me, yeah, right. But anyway, if they can actually get a good cadence of these games coming out, of the passion projects type thing, and the passion projects, I agree, it's proven that not knowing anything about it, as much as we want to dig and pry and know everything before it happens, peek behind the curtain, see the man, see the Wizard of Oz, we want to do all that. This worked out in our favor, not knowing it. A couple of reasons. One is there wasn't the build up to disappointment, or the tearing it down before you even got a chance to try it. The good buzz, because it's a good game. When you actually play it, you're like, hey, wait a minute, this is good. This is fun. I'm enjoying myself. And because of that, the word of mouth really built up, really got out there. I mean, there's all, and then it's available on Game Pass. And the Steam sales are off the chart. People are like, Game Pass fodder, or it's going to be, it's not going to make any money because it's on Game Pass. Wrong, And I'm doing it was $10 more to get the quote unquote extra edition, bonus edition. If you already have Game Pass, you don't have to. You just pay the $10 more and you get all that content too. It's great. Going to do that with the vampire game coming out.
Redfall,
yeah, Redfall. Going to be doing that with it because it's like, I think it's $30 more, and you get the high end edition if you were already on Game Pass. So why pay for that? It's right there in the Microsoft Store where you can have that option. You just click on it, buy it. Why not? So yeah, as long as they keep a balance, as long as they continue to make, and I'm sure they will, to drive the content with the big games, then all these extra little games, and there'll be some that don't necessarily hit the mark or not for everybody. This one seems to be pretty much for everybody. And I think it's because it is forgiving.
You're mentioning not for everybody. Pentiment specifically wasn't for everybody. But for those that love that genre, it was a masterpiece. It was super high rated. And for those and I've seen quite a few actually, people that you wouldn't expect that are like PlayStation fans and things like that, but love their history. They're like, oh, I'm going to play Pentiment, see what it's all about, and then they come out the back of it and they're just like, phenomenal game. Like, loved every second of it. The story was good, the twists were good, the art direction, everything was really cool. It was like these passion projects.
To your point, Dave. So real quick, before we move on, I suspect, to your point, Dave, about the little games and the big games, I suspect that there's a world where they've realized that as long as we because look what we're doing right now. Look what we've done for the past week, right? We're talking Hi-Fi Rush and how amazing it was. We're not talking, why didn't they give us the release date of Forza Motorsport? Where is Starfield gonna land? Like, when you let these little games take center stage, people go get busy and play games instead of complain at you all the time where your games are. You know what I mean? Allows the big guys to breathe a little bit. Hopefully that's the cadence they set.
like I said, if they're smart enough to look, we all think that they are, because Phil's got us to this point. He said he's made a few mistakes here and there. Nobody's perfect, but I would hold up his record of accomplishments in getting the brand to where it is now higher than any other person in charge of the Xbox brand in the past. I think it's really a testament to his, seeing what the potential could be. And like with that said, because they asked, they came to them and said, "Hey, we want to shadow drop this." Phil's like, "Well, do you feel that strong about it? You feel like?" And they're like, "Yes, it's ready to go. We're ready for it." And okay, and he agreed to it. Not all CEOs would be like, "Well, we need a big build up. We need to do." No, and because he took a chance, we're all reaping the rewards from that right now. So,
Highly agreed.
Balance is a key.
Yeah. I want to, before we move on to the next topic, I want to get quite a fun question going here for everybody. Speaking of passion projects, Pat, I'm going to start with you. If you could see a singular passion project game come out from Microsoft, what kind of game would you like to see them create? Something that would really speak to you.
Oh wow, that's a good question, man. Jeez, you're asking something. I don't think I can answer that right now.
I know
honest.
one thing that you loved and have loved since it came out was you loved both of the Ori games. You loved that Metroidvania kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of thing you'd potentially look to see them create, one of their own, as opposed to what happened with Ori? I know you loved Ori, but it's a good chance we'll never see that again. But
no, I don't think so. But yeah, I think like something like that would be cool to see, and then a shadow drop as well.
yeah.
But yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like HiFi Rush, like nothing about it, and they just drop this game. But yeah, it's so difficult because, for example, also I really love the Ascent as well.
Yes.
Also a game that was really good, that I really enjoyed. So maybe a game like that as well, like would be pretty cool. Some kind of sequel or like a part 2 of that.
Good show.
So, but yeah, it's a tough question, man. That's a tough question.
I hope everybody else has
there's
been
so many
thinking
games
in the
to-
background whilst that, because you're all getting the same question.
I have a couple
You have a couple. Go on
for
then.
that. Yeah, I'd like to see a Microsoft Studio take on a Souls-like game as a passion project, and I'd like to see some sort of hero shooter inspired thing, maybe like an Overwatch type thing, but with every Xbox iconic character in it,
Ooh.
like a worlds combined type game where there's villains and there's heroes and they just brawl
The
off against
mythical
each other.
Smash Brothers clone we've been wanting for Xbox.
I wouldn't say so much as Smash Brothers clone. I think keeping it as like a first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, no.
and
When I say
first-person shooter would
clone,
be
I
awesome.
don't mean like exactly Smash Brothers. That'd be terrible.
yeah.
But like in their
Yeah.
way, in their way with first-person shooters.
I think that would work
first
best
person.
for Xbox, as they are pretty much, obviously, they were kings of first-person shooters back in the day with Halo.
Mm-hmm.
That could be something special. Take every single iconic character that you own under every one of your studios and throw them into one game.
You know what I would want? You know what I would want, Jen? I would love to see a Smash Kart from Xbox. Instead of Mario Kart, just having like a Smash Kart
like a
type
Mario
of game.
Kart, but with all their characters. Absolutely.
Yeah, but with all the characters you got
yeah.
Master Chief in a car, you got Marcus Phoenix in his car. Just a huge mess of things. I would love to see them do that.
I have two. One that's never going to happen, and I was very sad to hear it, and one that who knows. One, I heard about we saw it, right? And it was great, but it never went anywhere. The Matrix demo. Where's my goddamn Matrix game? Come on, you cowards. It is to me, The Matrix 1 is still to me one of the greatest movies ever made. Give me a game in that world. You guys are almost there. Almost there. And two,
the coalition
I've said it
assisted with that.
before. Yeah, they even insisted. Exactly my point. Exactly. And what was it? You had Keanu Reeves on interviewing, going, "Where's the game? Well, we need a game. Like, where's the freaking game?" Yeah, it came and went, and of course, it didn't have the best look. So I doubt that project is, I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt that project will have legs at that moment based on the reception of the movie. But still, and then you heard me say before. Say it again. We want a jet set future. Hello, even Phil Spencer said that himself. Get that IP. Work with Sega. Oh yes, I've said it. We don't want anybody popping up, but yes, I said it. Give me my jet set future, not radio, future. Specifically future. The one that's still stuck on the OG Xbox that I have to emulate to play. Give me future. That's the one. Or two, remake it. Something. That'd be amazing. And no one's really necessarily have that market cornered. So Microsoft is really easy. Their IPs are dormant everywhere.
And
Grab something. Do some second party deals.
It's even stranger, Santa, as well for it now is now we've got a perfect studio in-house in Tango Gameworks who can actually make that thing a reality.
That's right.
And something we never thought we'd be able to
They have
say.
the pedigree.
Yeah.
These guys can also bring back Banjo-Kazooie. They can bring back Banjo-Kazooie. They can bring back Conquer. They can bring back all sorts of those games that are just simply just lying low right now, and they do need to be remade. They do need to come back.
Yeah. You see, I'd love to see Tango take on a Deadpool IP.
Yeah, they do that really well. Even in that animated cel-shaded world, I think it would work super well.
Yep.
In fact, it would probably be unbelievable.
Well, and the last big pie in the sky for me, when ABK's done, we want the coalition to take on StarCraft. FPS. Let's go.
No, FPS. No. We want that
FPS. You can have the RTS, and obviously we want the RTS to return. But
what about
I'm talking about the Warhammer game that came out.
Yeah.
What's it called? Warhammer
Space Marine.
Is it Space Marine? The one that you see the guy from behind?
Yeah, Space Marine. The one where he's meleeing all these crazy dudes. There's a new version coming out soon. Space Marine.
Yes, Space Marine. Yeah.
And that's what makes me think when I think of StarCraft. It could be a Space Marine kind of game with big lumbering monsters. Just like, who does that better than the Coalition? Come on now. AAA caliber. Well, if it's the Coalition, we're talking Unreal Engine 5, but still, id Tech would also shine. Absolutely. Yeah. Give us some Space Marine. Well, Space Marine-like action in the StarCraft world. StarCraft Ghost, as it was going to be called. Yes. Dave,
any ideas from yourself?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of franchises that they have that they could dust off, and the one I'd like to see them seriously dust off and really either give it to another studio or one of their other teams, or bring in a team from outside just to work on it. But we need a killer instinct.
Yeah.
We need a hardcore killer instinct that not only lives up to the promises of the new Street Fighter, but can incorporate extra content and characters from now the vast world
Senua,
of
Marcus Phoenix, Master Chief.
All of them.
Yep.
Everybody you can think of. I mean, bring the Battletoads back. Everything.
Put Chai in there. Chai in there, all cel-shaded.
Xbox should invest in a team to make fighting games.
They should. I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's the one thing that they're missing.
Get another round.
Well, didn't Phil say that the only person that he wants to work on his next Killer Instinct project is busy with something else, and he met Ed Boon? He said that, out of his own mouth.
To see the next Mortal Kombat game. I absolutely love Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Ed Boon has said that too. Yes, absolutely. So it's just a matter of time, really. And while we're waiting, they're all just making love over the internet. We're just just give us the damn game,
Kinky. Pause.
Oh, forgive me, sir.
I'm just playing.
For me personally, as a passion project, I would love to see Xbox get back into JRPGs. The only JRPGs they've done have been smash hits.
Yeah, true.
So when they get into it, like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, when they get into it
Perfect
and they do these
examples.
games, they are phenomenal games. Like, people keep looking at Lost Odyssey and thinking, that should have been what Final Fantasy was going forward. And
They could get Mr. Walker to work on it again. They really could. They
And you need
throw
it.
money at him.
yeah, so my passion project would be
Just
somebody
saying.
picking up or just creating a brand new JRPG for Xbox, and it can be any art style. But personally, for me, as long as it's turn-based, if you have a look at the likes of 100 Heroes, which is coming out this year in the next few months, which is going to be phenomenal. It's another indie game. If you have a look at Octopath Traveler and the art style that's went for, that's a phenomenal turn-based one. Any art style you like, I think Xbox have the capabilities of creating awesome JRPGs, and I'd love to see a studio, preferably potentially a Japanese one, working on a brand new JRPG for Xbox. I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got a lot of
Hey, at least we're all getting rumors of Scalebound. Now they're gonna mute me, right? It's time out for me at this.
Just
No comment.
Just don't say it 2 more times. Just do not say it 2 more
So we got a
times, because then a
timeout.
bin will appear. Oh dear.
Oh Lord, Scalebound.
We've had some awesome ones in the chat as well, because they asked the same question: what kind of passion project game would you like to see from Xbox Game Studios? Of course, Mr. Joanna Dark said Shadowrun IP from In Exile, but he also said a Coalition MechWarrior game, which would be absolutely phenomenal as well, I think. Bailey Making Rent says Fallout New Vegas Fallout New Vegas 2 under Obsidian. They have mentioned they would love to work on Fallout again. And I think beyond Outer Worlds 2, we will see them create another Fallout game before the time is out, should we say, for them. So I would say keep your eyes peeled on that, because they've said they'd love to work on one again. They're getting their own project out the way of, and of course, I cannot wait for Outer Worlds 2 whenever that arrives, because number 1 was phenomenal. Absolutely loved that game. It was like a Fallout Light in space. And that was kind of their first foray into it.
I'm just
so-
ready for Avowed.
Yes, of
Oof,
course.
Avowed. My
Yeah,
God.
absolutely.
I just want Microsoft just to let don't rush things. That's something that if they need to learn that. If they have not learned from HiFi Rush not to rush things, then everything will go out good. Because I feel like Halo was rushed, and look at all these other games that came out. Like, for example, like you mentioned Ground, and you mentioned all these great games, HiFi Rush, and man, they're just great. And I just hope that those AAA games that they're working, I hope that they don't rush them, and push them like to release them and become a buggy mess.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Completely agree. What else we got in the chat here? Grandmaster Clown just wants to see Project Mara, and I don't blame him. Let's see what that's all about. I think
Yeah, that's a game
from
that I've been waiting for.
Yeah. I think they're getting Hellblade finished and done first, and Project Mara will be after that. So I don't think it'll be too much longer till you see it. Probably another year or so. Hellblade, from what I've said quite all along, Jeff Grubb's saying now, quite a few others are saying now, they're expecting Hellblade to drop this fall. That's kind of the window.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And we've been saying this for months. We said fall 23 is Hellblade, fall 23 is Hellblade. And now they're coming out.
I
and saying
really
this.
hope so.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying now, and we've been saying it for months, but they get the headlines. Yeah. Jeff Grubb's been watching, I suspect. What else we got here? Phantosir would love to see a Bully remake shadow dropped. Everyone wants a Bully remake.
Bully.
I think everyone loved Bully.
I just want Bully 2 at this point, but we all know that got cancelled.
Yeah. I don't know why. It was phenomenal. Such a good game.
Oh, I know exactly why. GTA Online.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 100%. To Asante's point, of course, Mrs. Joanna Dark said StarCraft Ghost. Bring back StarCraft Ghost from the Coalition. Yeah, absolutely. any others I don't think there's any others in here. If there is, that's fair enough. Vanquish.
I won't belabor the point anymore, but I've stopped crying my last tear for ye old Titanfall 3. Let's move forward. Shall
Oh
we?
my god, yeah.
Oh no.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
next topic. There's been a whole host of EA cancelled games this week. Primarily, the vast majority of the mobile games that they've got, whether it be Battlefield, whether it be Apex, all of the mobile versions of those games that were in development have been cancelled. Completely binned off, teams closed. So there's quite a few people on the EA side that are either out of jobs or being repurposed and put into other studios now. So obviously thoughts out to the people working on those games. Change of direction from EA means those games are no longer going forwards. Unfortunately, there was going to be a Titanfall single-player spin-off that was also cancelled, which is the kind of main casualty from this EA stuff. For me and for Jen specifically, we don't care about no mobile game. So I care about the people that work out those studios, but I certainly don't care about the mobile games they're creating. I do not care one bit about mobile games. But when you cancel
Mobile games can get in the bin.
Yep.
Only Vampire Survivors. Only that game we care about in mobile. That's it.
But outside of that, the sad news, of course, that Titanfall, the new Titanfall that they were making, gone. Which is
From what I've seen, it was supposed to be called Titanfall Legends, right? It was supposed to play on the Apex Legends sort of thing, but set in a single player universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't really have high hopes for that, to be honest, when I found out it was called that. I just want Titanfall 3.
And there I was rooting for EA the other day. I was like, yes, EA is doing so well making single player games, and now they go out and they cancel one of their biggest games, out there, which is Titanfall. I understand that 2 didn't do as well, probably because it got stuck in the middle between all these great games. But dang, that Titanfall story is awesome.
Well, you know why. You know why they canceled that. Same thing as General C was talking about why they canceled Bully. Same reason why they canceled this. Because Apex prints money. Why should we bother?
Yep.
Why go on the edge and potentially fail when the money's still being printed? And to that I say, Titan. Anyway.
So that's a good point that maybe we should make. How traditional of a Titanfall game would this have been? And has it been cancelled because they've decided to go and make a traditional Titanfall game?
Now, you know what you're doing right now, right? You're giving me hope. Please don't do that.
Hope.
Because to me, and let me be clear, I tend to be a single player gamer because I have kids and you can't pause. So if you give me Titanfall, I want the campaign. And to me, Titanfall 2's campaign is one of the greatest campaigns ever made, bar none. It's like every time you call out something, oh, this cool thing here, yeah, Titanfall did that. Oh, that cool thing there, yeah, Titanfall did that. Oh, and then they can go back into the past and the future. And, yeah, Titanfall did that. It's just the most amazing campaign ever made. And then, of course, it is a single player. You play it, you're done. I play it every year. But in this world we live, where these live services are popping up everywhere, this is just not long for this world for us.
It's almost as if live services aren't a good idea.
Almost if, right? Maybe we should reevaluate the fact that we keep renting everything and expecting it never to last. I don't know.
The big problem with live service games is there's too many of them, and the ones that do it good are the ones that are going to stick around for the longest. The Fortnites, the Call of Duties, those are the ones that are going to stick around for good because it's too risky to try and get into those live service games and stumble. Look what happened to Halo.
This is what kind of worries me on the front of Sony, because we know they've got 10 games as a service games in development. But how quickly will they cancel those games when the first couple don't hit? It's games like that do not always hit. Only a certain few did, and you've got to give hats off to Microsoft for sticking by Sea of Thieves to allow it to become what it is now, because others would have closed that stuff down almost immediately after within the year. They would have just been like, nope, it's not going anywhere, goodbye. you've, as you mentioned, there, you've got your Apex, you've got Destiny, you've got Warzone, those killer IPs that are sitting in the games as a service, continuous thing, that are doing well. Not all of them do. There's been many games as a service games that have not hit. How will Sony react with all of these games as a service titles that they've got in development when one or two of them don't hit? Will they be quick fire and cancel them all, or will they stick by them?
I wouldn't be surprised
make
if
them?
Sony are reevaluating that, because we've seen a lot of live service games die recently. Avengers, Crossfire X today was announced that it's going to die. A bunch of mobile games, live service. Yeah, I don't play them myself, but I know there's a load of people out there that do play them, and they're probably pissed off right now because they bought all those microtransactions in the game, and they've just been slapped around the face and said, "Oh, the game's dying."
And the worst part about that, and this dovetails into a conversation I want to have maybe one day on my show. I will. Like, they could fix that even if you're done with it. You could just do an update, change the code, make it ad hoc, peer to peer. But no, we're done. So all the thing you invested in it, goodbye. Your money is vamoose. It's all gone. Even though, yes, I know it's not easy to just right click and save as, and now there's peer to peer versus a dedicated server. But they could do something like that if we force them. Because in this world we live right now, even single player games, the moment they decide to shut the servers off, many of them are gone. Just gone. Your discs, Mr. Physical Forever, all it has is a hex key on it telling you that you're allowed to access that server. That's all that's there, right? So if that server's gone, there goes your game. And that just sucks, man. It really sucks. We need to talk about that more.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I read somewhere that Back 4 Blood's also in the same category. I think they're turning their servers off.
Yep. Recently, I heard that too. Yeah.
No, Back 4 Blood said because they are working on a new project. That's why
they're moving all their resources.
They're moving up the resources over there. Yeah. Because,
move on to a new project for a live servicey type game and kill your live service type game. That doesn't give me confidence for their next project either.
What I think they're just talking about development. They're just not talking on dropping the live service. Not dropping the game, just to developing into that game, like probably the DLCs and all that stuff. And so that's probably so. Probably.
Let's hope.
Yeah. But something I understand is, so basically EA canceled all this stuff, and so it tells me that they still have not learned the lesson from last generation. Because hey, last generation EA, I was telling myself, what were the single great player games that they had? They did not have that much great single player games until Jedi Fallen Order came out. Yeah. And I was like, man, I'm happy they turned it around. And then they bring out Dead Space. And now we got Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor coming out. And I was like, man, they turned it around. I'm happy they did that, because Ubisoft went the same way pretty much, didn't they? Ubisoft like started making some of the games live service, didn't they? And they got
a lot of the games are live service. Yeah. You're getting live service Assassin's Creed coming soon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said,
they've already got live service elements in their single player Assassin's Creed games.
There you go.
Time savers and stuff like that, as they call them.
Yeah,
I call it a waste of money.
So basically, they still have not learned their lesson on that, and they need to learn their lesson, because people, they play it okay, but after they're done with it, bye them out. They go jump into the actual better live service game, like for example, like you said, Fortnite and all that stuff. People tend to go over there back then.
See, the problem with everyone else trying to jump on the bandwagon for live service games is they don't go all in. Epic went all in with Fortnite. Look at how successful it is. Most people don't do that. We're looking at you, Halo. You didn't really go all in, did you? And that's why you flopped with your live service. And now you're trying to bandage it all back together.
You make a good point there. With live service games, it's all or nothing. You can't be in the middle. If you're in the middle, it'll not work. You've got to put either everything into it and make sure it works, or don't bother at all.
Yeah, look at Fortnite. They've got really any character they want, they can get in it, because they've got the money to go and say, oh, Marvel, we want to use a bunch of your characters. DC, we want to use a bunch of your characters. Here's the money. And then Fortnite has become the billboard of gaming.
Fortnite,
a movie
mark
comes
my
out.
Words. Fortnite is the metaverse. You will see
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 years from now, people will put VR headsets on or AR or whatever.
Mhm.
That is the ultimate metaverse. Every character is represented. That is the number one Ready Player One future already existing. They just haven't put it on your face yet.
Man,
Fortnite's the only one.
Yep.
they,
I mean,
they even-
whenever a movie comes out, like a Marvel movie, they've got something in
happens?
Fortnite that goes
It
alongside
shows up
it.
in Fortnite. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like with
Yeah, they've already
with Dead
cracked it.
Space, they put Isaac Clarke in the game. It is the biggest advertisement space in gaming to put your character in.
In what game can you have Master Chief, Kratos, and some other freaking Nintendo oddity just in one truck, just going around blasting fools? Like
With
in what
Spider-Man
game?
flying past them.
Right?
Yes,
Fortnite.
right.
It is the metaverse. Wait until they add VR. That'll change the game for them. I bet you.
Mhm.
You know,
I
just
mean-
like No Man's Sky, you know, they add VR to it. Now people do that. Fortnite is the metaverse. People keep talking smack about that's what it is. And as long as they keep doing that, I think at some point everyone else should just admit that Fortnite won and just stop all the live service things that you're trying to shoehorn in because Fortnite already won. Just
Yeah. And
be
if you
okay
are
with
going to
that.
shoehorn it in, go all in. Don't dip
Yeah.
your toes in and be like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, with Fortnite, I was laughing the other day because they even got the Chapulín Colorado in there, and that's a character that's a famous comedian in Mexico. And I was like, what? He's even in this game, so it's insane. Like you were saying, Keosante, it's gonna become a big metaverse. You're right.
I mean, they have people
It
doing
is now.
live concerts in Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly, right? Imagine 10 years from now, it's Second Life for those olds who remember that. That's what this is. People will be educating in Fortnite. People will be spending. They'll buy homes in Fortnite. Mark my words. It's
NFT
happening.
homes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fortnite, I'm telling you. and I say this as one of those old get off my lawn. A lot of my brethren have now just admitted it, like they've given up and they're in the no build mode and they're loving it. Shout out to you, King David, right? I still haven't jumped into that yet, but people are in it now, right? It's the only Unreal 5 game that actually works. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's literally right now. It's the only Unreal 5 game you can actually play and see all the cool Unreal 5 benefits. You know, it is that thing. You know, and I think because of that, a lot of these other guys with money are trying to shoot for that dream. Just move forward. Let's give Fortnite the roses it deserves and stop trying to steal their shine. They've already won. You know.
See, Halo could have been a good live service, and they could have gone to other games companies and gone, "Oh, we want Isaac Clarke's armor in this game, or we want
Here's
the Mandalorian's armor in this game."
This is what I found weird with Halo, because I'm telling you, Halo's such a big universe. I mean, it's pretty much like Destiny, right? Destiny is such a big universe. They got so much content, and I really did not understand why these guys is like they didn't sit down and read through Halo's story or something, because man, you can do so many things with Halo.
There's so many great Halo books
Yeah.
out there that they could take story elements from or do the entire story of a book, because most of the Halo fans out there don't actually read the books. They hear about how good the books are. You've got perfectly
love them.
well-written books to make perfectly well-written stories. Take the book, convert it into a game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Moving on to the final topic, though. A little bit of news that we kind of expected, but didn't expect at the same time. All three of the major gaming companies, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, are not going to be at E3 this year. We know that Xbox is going to be doing its own event at Microsoft Theatre, as it always does, but they're not going to have a physical presence at E3. Neither is Nintendo, and neither is PlayStation. Now, PlayStation, we kind of already knew, because they've been out of the game since like 2019, where I think was the last one they did. And beyond that, there was like, nope, no more. We're out. We're just going to do our own thing. But those going to E3, of course, specifically now just third party that you'll see. Now, we used to be that, of course, if you had your E3 pass, you'd be able to get in at the Microsoft Theatre and see what they're working on, and see the show, etc. Not sure if that is applicable now. Asante, being a man that is going to E3.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. We don't know. You might be right. You might be wrong about that. Because an addendum to that story that we heard, the reason why it made me go, at first I was like, oh no. And then you read into it a little bit and you're just like, it might not be that big a deal. Because the addendum, the small print of that story that most folks didn't catch is that ReedPop, the company that is working on E3 now, is also at the same time working on FanFest for Microsoft at the same time. So yes, and it's also at the same time as E3. So it's like ReedPop is doing E3 and is also doing FanFest with Microsoft. Maybe there's still the same kind of synergy there. Maybe you're not necessarily, going into E3 proper, but it's still kind of going to be the same, really, right? They're still on the ESA board. They haven't changed that. You know what I mean? Like, we've been digging through the whole E3 thing for a little bit now. We're preparing to go this year and all that. One thing you realize is that it's not really E3. It's kind of divided. There's the Microsoft representation, and then there's E3. And a lot of us call it one when in fact it's FanFest and Microsoft. That's where the action tends to be. And then E3 is after the media is done. They'll let you go stand in line for a long time for some unreleased games. We shall see how that works. They say ReedPop will clean that up on both sides. I think it might be great. There's a lot of faith in ReedPop, and they've been very successful at all the packs that they've done. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do here. Right? E3 couldn't go lower than it is now, short of not show up anymore. And of course, you have Keighley nipping at their heels right now. So they really, really need to work on giving consumers and people that want to come a reason to be there. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see so that y'all know we're gonna be there from June 9th to June 15th. We've already booked it. We're good. We're gonna be there. Actually no, it was 16th now. We to Thursday, but we're gonna be there. We'll see how it works. We'll see where we go. We'll see how we go. But we're in there, right? And I don't know, Dutch. Are you still coming? I don't know. We were talking about that. Yeah, we need to talk about it. We're gathering the teams, man. Everybody get together. No, I think it's going to be exciting. If E3 has a chance, this is the last chance it has. If this year, if it ultimately shakes out to be nothing, yeah, you're done. I think the Keighley's Summer Game Fest takes over. I think Microsoft's Fan Fest is what it is. Right? Nintendo has moved on, as you've already mentioned, and of course, PlayStation was never going to come back. I don't think ReedPop even had that capability of bringing them back into the fold. So it's a little sad because that was our Christmas, right? There were days where I would take days off of work and just like sit in front of the TV and nobody talk to me. It's E3, and we're probably not going to get that big old school thing anymore, but. Things change, and hopefully they don't change for the worse. I'm looking forward to seeing what ReedPop can show this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, they've done good work at PAX, which is why they brought them in to help rejuvenate E3 and bring it back in a good state. I think the one thing we're all curious to see, because we know Microsoft's going to do their own thing. They already announced they're going to be there in their own capacity, at their own in the theater with FanFest, but what we don't know is what Nintendo will do this year. If Sony will show up at all in any capacity. They didn't last year. Are they going to this year? Are they going to showcase what they're working on? Because we still haven't seen anything and they've been super quiet. Those are my kind of key questions. Dave, what do you think? Do you think we see something from Sony this June around that period?
You mean as far as like an outside show or
Yeah.
Event type thing? Yeah, I mean, they're due for one, that's for sure, most definitely. So yeah, it's a possibility that they'll put something together, to coincide with the events, either leading up to or maybe right after to try and steal the highlights. That's always a possibility. One thing that I've been to a couple of E3s myself. Not bragging, just been blessed to be able to do it, and it's they're a
Humble
lot of
brag.
fun. Oh, dude, and it's I mean I've seen AC/DC in concert several times, and
I'm
there ain't
not
nothing like
jelly at
being on
all,
the
sir.
floor.
Not jelly at all.
Dude, being on the floor of E3 is 10 times louder than that because everybody's competing, and
Awesome.
every little booth is just this mega concert stage. It's insane. but it's great, man. It's a lot of fun. But one thing that people don't seem to get is that there's a lot of third party almost all of the third party companies are still going to be there, and every single one of those has PlayStation games, Xbox games, Nintendo games, and they are all over the place. So it's not like you're not going to see any presence at all. You just may not see the mainline games, but you definitely will see the big dogs out there that are the third party games. Some of them, some of the third party games this past year saved a few consoles from embarrassment. Elden Ring, but so I mean, there's a lot of great games you're going to see at these events. So I'm unfortunately not going to be able to get to go this year because of my mom's health. I need to be around here. So but I would, but trust me, man. If there's any way I could have gone, I would go this year because all the great content creators just to go and meet everybody, even if it didn't make it in the building, would have been awesome. So, but maybe next year we'll see, or another event on the horizon for the future for all of us. But yeah, this, like I said, it's still going to be big. It's going to be great, and it's so much fun. There's so much interaction, and there's a few days that are strictly for press, and then there's a few days that are for pretty much anybody, and you can go to all of it in the press, but you really get a kind of a behind the scenes kind of, you get the developers and stuff talking to you a lot more about their projects in depth than they would when it comes to 2 days to where it's open to anybody. Then they're kind of tight-lipped and here's what we got coming out, and we'll let you know more later, kind of thing. But yeah, everybody gets to go this year. You guys are going to have an absolute blast. Dutch, do what you can. I'm telling you, you will enjoy yourself. You will have fun. Mark my words. So that's all I got to say about it.
Certainly. Pat, I know you just love the showcase season where you can just sit down and watch all the things. Is it going to be a bit weird? Obviously, we'll see Xbox to see what they're up to, but is it going to be a bit weird not potentially seeing Nintendo or PlayStation in that period, or what they've got cooking up?
Yeah, of course. You're like, I'm a mainly Xbox player, so but it's interesting to see if Nintendo or PlayStation has coming up, but yeah, they might be doing something. I hope so. The majority of people that I know, they own a PlayStation, so yeah, it will be nice if they gonna show like some of the games they are working on, or or what they gonna bring out. Maybe also they're gonna drop some games out of nowhere, but I don't. Yeah, it's difficult to say, I think. Like for the last few years, we had, for example, with Xbox, we had high expectations, with the big shows, and it was kind of disappointing. So the way that they did it now with the development showcase, small, good, one game dropped, success, and I think that Xbox just needs to do what they're doing now. Every few months, show something, like we said before, give a little bit of insight of what they're working on, a little bit more interviews with the developers and that kind of stuff. That would be cool. And I think if like PlayStation or Nintendo does this as well, they might surprise a lot of people. So I think
it's a good point when you mentioned the developer direct. I think adds another thing to Xbox's hat as well. We can kind of use these developer directs to kind of do that more streamlined show where it's not all big and flashy and on a stage and things, and kind of just go straight into it. These are the games. You see the games. You speak to the developers, and here's a shadow drop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but and that's also a thing, because when they showed the picture of the developer thing, people are already saying, and me as well, you know, like, oh, they're gonna show motorsports and they're gonna show Redfall and 2 or 3 other games, you know, like, and then out of nowhere, this Hi-Fi Rush just popped up, and it was a surprise. So I think that like I said, if PlayStation or Nintendo does this as well, like a small thing to show and then surprise the people. I think with the bigger events, people have too high expectations, like I had myself before, you know, and then that was disappointing. So I think with this kind of concept, it would be maybe good.
Awesome stuff. Louis, what's your thoughts on the big three missing the E3 proper?
Man, it saddens me because, you know, I was actually, I'm actually hoping that I'm gonna go. I'm crossing my fingers that I want to go. I want to go to E3. But after I heard that Microsoft after I heard this news, I don't know if it's true though. Is it 100% confirmed that they're not going or no?
They'll be there. They're just going to be across the street. They won't be in the E3 proper, but they're going to be there.
It's exactly the same as last year.
Yep.
And the year before.
Multiple times they've done this.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm like, it's a non-story. It's exactly the same as they've always been.
Oh, then never mind. Going back to it. I'm gonna go there.
They just there to confuse Crazy Louis. Come on, man.
It's
Don't
more.
confuse
Yeah,
him.
I was like, what?
The difference is this year is unlike previous, where in E3 last year and E3 the year before, within E3 itself, there was a physical Xbox presence there. You could go and physically play the Xbox games. That isn't happening this year. Anything to do with Xbox is strictly on Xbox Theater premises. And that's where they're doing their stuff.
Unless
Except the
it's
third-party stuff that's everywhere.
Yeah. It's a third party.
Oh, so now I'm more motivated to go then.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna say something though. On Nintendo side of things, I was like, that was kind of weird though that Nintendo said no, we're not going over there, because Nintendo, you know, needs to. For me, it needs to be there. But it was weird though. It was weird that they just said no. I just found that weird, because Nintendo's like the old, what's it called, like the pioneer in gaming, that's the word, right?
Yep.
Since the pioneer in gaming, you know, I always think like E3 is a good moment for them to show off what they have. So let's see what they have though, because maybe they probably got a good showcase coming up that's going to be big and show something, you know?
Maybe.
I can't even
maybe they're
remember.
gonna-
I can't even remember Treehouse Live last year. Can anybody remember Nintendo? Was there a Treehouse
I don't
Live?
think they did. Did they? I don't think they did. No, I don't think they did.
Maybe
and you know
they're
what?
holding off until the new console stuff comes
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Frankly, they need to get that abacus out of here and give us something to be excited about. Until you do, I don't want to see your 20 frames per second. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, but they're still
me something
selling
good.
it at the price it is now the day it came out. So why there's no incentive for them to do that quite yet. We'll
Well,
see.
you don't want to see more Pokemon games, more Zelda Breath of the Wild, you know?
Well, yeah, we want to see them,
I
but
mean, I definitely want to see another
we're good.
Pokemon, because I absolutely loved the last one. I think it was one of the best games they've had since the original Pokemons.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Again, it's, to me, I've always felt sorry for the developers, because they're performing such absolute miracles on the hardware that they've been given. Like,
Yeah.
if they did get hardware that was justifiable and could actually do something, they would create
Yep.
absolute masterpieces.
Yep.
So hopefully, and you're correct. I think Nintendo's issue is it's how do you possibly release a new console when your current console is flying off the shelves left, right, and center? It is selling such significant. We're talking monthly. It's millions, and it's been out for years. It's not slowing down. It's only getting higher.
I'll be shocked if the new Nintendo, whenever it comes out, the upgrade, new device, whatever, Switch 2, whatever you want to call it, Super Switch, whatever. If it's not backwards compatible, they would be super dropping the ball.
Super Nintendo
They
Switch
have
no,
would
got-
actually be
it
an
should
awesome
be.
concept.
Super Switch.
The Super
Super Switch
Nintendo.
would be good.
That's one of the
actually.
names kicked around.
That's such a good name. That's a good name. Super Switch. Nintendo, grab that. Super Switch.
You know that right now, Nvidia is charging them more, because it's kind of like, you know how if you go right now to try and go buy a tape player,
Yep.
Like it's way expensive because tape players just don't exist anymore.
Right.
NVIDIA is charging Nintendo way more for that Tegra X1 chip because it's like it was made in
Outdated.
2016.
Yep.
You know,
You know-
they're done with it. They want to move forward. They actually even have a newer chip architecture that they are excited to promote. But Nintendo's like, nah, homie, it's cheaper to make. We're collecting the check right now.
You know,
Thus,
Nintendo's got plans.
they're offsetting the price. You know,
They've got plans. They just won't come
Yeah.
with us yet.
Yeah, they
The
got
future's
something
ready.
planned because Santa, you're onto something though. I think they're gonna announce that console real soon because if
They
NVIDIA
better.
charge them money for that and a lot more,
they
I
better because
mean,
if they don't,
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom will be played here. I will buy it on Steam on the old eShop, and it'll be played here rather than on an actual Nintendo device. Because I'm just sick and tired of the
Hacked system.
terrible frames.
Yeah, that's
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
thing as well for me. It's
Man.
from their perspective. I can understand why it's difficult because you've got a console that is literally moving in high quantities, millions per month,
Mhm.
every month since it was launched. It's not slowed down.
Yeah.
It's continuing to grow. It's one of the best-selling consoles ever made. How do you follow that up and not let your customers go? Which means it needs to be an iteration that allows backwards compatibility. It also means that they're going to
Which NVIDIA already has. They have that chip already.
Another issue, though, Asant, is that means that they're also going to have to continue with cartridges if they do backwards compatibility.
True. Absolute. Or maybe it's a disc. It's a system that has cartridges for your last gen games and digital only for your next gen. Who knows?
But then,
And in that world,
Yeah.
I'm sad because what happens? That means even Nintendo becomes a rental service then, like everything else.
Yeah.
and even then, you think they've then got to balance the fact that it is still the cheapest portable available.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
Even over Steam, if you get the Steam Deck, essentially on as you know, the Steam Deck, you can't really go with the base version, which is the same price as the Switch. You have to get the middle to the high end version and get an SD card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're trying to do with it.
The people have been able to make the 64 gig version work unbelievable well. Like to your point, I bought the 512 version because I thought exactly the way you did, and now I'm like, I've seen a lot of people do interesting things with that version. But then again, of course, as we're talking a different market. We're talking those who will crack this thing open and put a new SD card in it and all SSD in it and all that. That's not Nintendo, right? They're a different market altogether. So yeah, no, I hear you on that. They have a very big market and it kind of ties their hands a little bit.
Yeah.
But they did do the 3DS to the new 3DS. Buy a new 3DS is like sitting somewhere.
We know
it's still possible.
in all intensive purposes, they were going to do a revision, like a pro version of the Switch, and cancelled it because they thought, what's the point? Like, if we're going to do this, we're going to go and do it properly and do just the next gen, whatever it is. So hats off to them for not doing a mid-gen refresh. The OLED was the refresh. The next one is the next one. That'll be an actual jump. We've got to hope that they use up-to-date hardware. We hope.
They should,
but then,
or at least
then you
more
get into
current.
the territory of like, of these kind of phones.
I can tell you,
super expensive.
I can tell you that the next chip that NVIDIA is making that they've already been talking about, it basically compares the graphically, performance-wise, PS4 Pro, somewhere
Okay,
around
that's
there.
good enough for
That's
mobile.
where which for Nintendo, that is leaps and bounds in strength. We'll see what they do with it, right?
It's more a costing thing because they need to kind of target the same costings. They need to do that 300, 350 mark at a push. I don't foresee a time, even for the Nintendo diehards who don't like to criticize Nintendo, I don't foresee a time where Nintendo could put out a console the same price as a Series X or a PlayStation 5 and sell. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't, because at that price, it would have to be the same power level
Yeah.
to justify it.
Yeah.
Because they make their money on those games. I mean, all you got to do is make a game of Mario, a game of Zelda, and woo, that thing sells like crazy.
You would think so, but there's a reason. Like the games never reduce in price, but the console's cheap enough for anybody to really pick up. That's why we keep saying to people that are on the fence about getting into the new gen of Xbox, like, well, if you're that on the fence, just pick up a Series S. It's like $250. 250.
Yeah.
It's like 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250. 250 you're having fun. Like,
Yep.
it's cheap. And that's why people are getting the Switch even to this day, is because they're like, it's like 300. It's not like, I'm not jumping in 500, 560, 700 quid for the next gen PlayStation or Xbox. I'm getting a game console. It plugs into my TV. I can use it handheld. Sweet, 300 quid, no problem.
And the crazy thing about Nintendo and their power is the fact that most people will still buy a Switch before they'll buy a Series S. But Series S combined with Game Pass will give you almost every game that will release on the Switch, except for the first parties, obviously, right? Like literally every time you see a Treehouse or Direct, you're looking at potential Game Pass games. They always release there, but everyone just goes Switch, even though they release there with a cheaper console, and you don't have to pay for them because you're paying part of your subscription. That's how I use Directs. I look at Directs and figure out the next game I'm going to play on the Series S or X, right? Because I will not play 12 frames per second on the Switch. That's for my kids. They can play Piku Niku on that, right? But it's surprising to me that still to this day, that comparison with Switch versus Series S, that never happens. I don't see people talking about that. It's surprising.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. But one thing we've been shouting about for a while, like the need to get some newer hardware in there. It's like it's super old mobile hardware. I say, but then you look at what is in the new mobiles these days. Like I mentioned there, with the Z4 Fold here.
Yeah.
But what is in there is ultra capable of playing high end games if it wants to. But the costing of them phones. The costing of a high-end phone that is able to do gaming as 120 hertz refresh rate screens, AMOLED screens, etc., etc. You're talking upwards of 1,000.
Well, there's a lot of built-in returns on that though, because what you can see is and I hear you, and you're absolutely right. But on the flip side, you can find no-name Chinese companies with 120 hertz screens, with OLED, and they're all like $400, right? It's the Samsungs of the world that are trying to convince you that those things are $1,200, $1,300 when they're actually not, right? They used to be $400 or $500, but we've forgotten those days, right? It's there. The margins are there. It's just like iPhone set that standard, and here we go, tech talk. iPhone set that standard, and now everybody's following that standard, and it's just fleecing us dry. You know what I mean? I hope that Nintendo does see that and go, you know what? Mobile processors are far more capable than they used to be. Hopefully we see them be a bit more aggressive in that elm. But let's be honest, I'm not holding out hope. This is Nintendo we're talking
Well, that's
about.
what I'm saying.
Have you seen their online infrastructure?
That's what I'm saying about the new phones. That's the difference. It's the new phones. Like every model of the phones gets another chip, which is even more powerful than the chip before.
Yeah. Even more powerful than last. Absolutely.
And it keeps spiraling like that. Whilst Nintendo, as you mentioned, has a mobile chip that was 2016, which is absolutely obsolete. Like any of the Galaxy phones from 2020 onwards would absolutely wipe the floor with performance and graphical capabilities of the Switch. Any of the iPhones and their own chips would absolutely decimate the Nintendo Switch when it comes to running any of their games. You could create better looking games, better performing games on any of the mobile hardware than what you can on Nintendo. This is the kind of stuff that the developers...
Switch, when did the Switch come out, by the way? What date did the Switch come out? What year do you recall?
2017. 2017, around, I think it was March or April.
Okay.
I think it was.
So 2017 is when the Switch came out. The Tegra X1 chip released 2015, which tells you that when the Switch came out, it was already obsolete.
Yep.
March 3rd, 2017 is when the Switch came out.
Can you imagine?
See, close to that.
Right? Imagine an iPhone releasing in 2023 with 2021 or 2021 technology, or 2019.
Yeah, but
that's the problem with Nintendo. They don't these days try to future-proof their consoles, and that kind of sucks. They always they're always behind in the tech.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're behind the tech, but they sell more than anything. I mean, look at that Switch.
True.
It's behind. It's like what Asante says, 20 frames per second. But dang, it's in the.
It is the lesson of what is it? It's the lesson of Vampire Survivors. Graphics suck. Okay, story isn't there. Okay, but the gameplay is so good, you do not care. That's the story of the Switch. Graphics
issue-
suck, sure.
I was gonna
12
say
frames
the-
per second, sure.
The issue we've got
You
now,
know, please.
as time
Uh-huh.
goes on, though, Santi, as we've mentioned, the issue we've got now is the games are now progressively getting performance worse
Yep.
than they are stable.
Absolutely.
Like
Yep.
initially, on
And
the
they're going to
first-
start
the
losing
first few
third-party
years-
support if they don't
Yeah.
upgrade soon. Yeah.
The first few years of the Switch, the performance was okay. Like it was like locked at 30, okay. Like we'll have to deal with it being locked
Yep.
at 30, but at least it's got a good presentation. It plays well. It handles fine. The performance is good.
And at that time, 30 was a normal standard, so you were okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Now you're lucky if the games are locked at 30, and they're dipping like 25, 20s, sometimes 15s, juddering, stuttering. They've got issues.
Yeah.
Like as it progressively goes on, the developers are struggling to continue to create the games for it, which is I think is like as Jen mentioned, a longevity issue. It was okay for the first 5 years of its launch. Beyond that, it's now starting to show its age, and that's the problem. On the development side, it's just becoming much more of a pain for the developers to create a stable game and
Yeah,
To keep
I
up
mean,
with
like
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
pretty soon, once this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, we're going to start seeing Call of Duty head to Nintendo's again. Are people seriously going to play Call of Duty on a Nintendo Switch streaming? Probably not, right? There'll be a few people that try to, but it's not going to be one of them games that is going to be amazing on the Switch. That's why they really need to start pushing
What's
into
baffling-
new hardware and at least future-proofing it a bit.
Well, they were vague when they said it was coming to Nintendo, and then they didn't say the Switch. They said Nintendo. So
Yeah.
that
Nintendo
clearly
Nintendo
leaves themselves
platforms,
open
yeah.
for the next
Mhm.
Nintendo product.
what's baffling
If
is
Nintendo,
I was going to say about
if Nintendo was
when you mentioned
smart-
about the cloud streaming stuff there, Jen. Is their cloud streaming on Nintendo's actually all right? It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird. You don't want it being a cloud streaming platform because it isn't a mobile data console. So it means when you're not in a Wi-Fi
Yeah.
access area, you can't play those games.
Makes it a hard sell for anybody who wants to pay full price. And Nintendo ain't giving you discounts.
Yeah.
see, if Nintendo was smart, they would push towards a hybridized style console where when your console is docked, it's got more power than when it's undocked. That's the sort of thing Nintendo need to do next.
Yeah.
Don't know whether they're going to do that though.
That's kind of what and everybody knows that whoever's done kind of PCs before and things before you could do dual GPUs when that was a thing.
In the dock.
Yeah, you would
Yeah.
be able to have an entirely separate housing for your GPU and have an additional one if you needed to, just to be able to just plug in and just add an additional GPU, which means that essentially you could boost the power of your PC at no problem. That is the kind of thing you would expect them to be able to do with the dock that you could maybe charge for separately. So it doesn't come with it. If you want the additional power, here is the additional power dock.
Yeah, they could give you just a standard dock, and then you've got the Pro dock, where if
Actually,
you're
you
a
know-
person that only plays specifically on TV and you don't play handheld mode, that's more for you. So you
Yeah.
pay a little bit more. to get that dock.
Microsoft has already done that. They've already cracked that nut in the laptop space. Their Surface Books had a disc that had your normal cheapy GPU in the top, and then when you click it to the bottom and it turns to laptop mode, the bottom had an actual GPU, and you could do your AAA gaming there. Only when you dock it. When it's screen by itself, it's mobile type game. It's a possibility. It can work. It's just, will Nintendo do so, or will they continue to give us the abacus that sells all the time?
And the good thing is when you're doing
Yeah,
these
probably that.
Oh yeah, when you're doing these split things, is that you can restrict yourself on certain overheads for these games when they're in handheld modes. You can get okay, then we're going to reduce the resolution, we're going to reduce the details and put them all down onto low or medium low, and then when you go into the docked mode, then you increase the resolution, you increase all of these aspects, and it kind of just should automatically know which mode you're in. A bit like what the Xbox do with the Series X, S, and One, where you can no matter what game you play it on, if you have the little memory stick, you plug it in, and it tells you, okay, well you're on the Series S, so we're going to play the Series S version. Or you're on the Series X, okay, we'll play the Series X version. So it doesn't automatically need to update; it just recognizes the console you're on, and it does it. that's kind of what Nintendo could look to do going forward to save themselves money on the actual mobile hardware. Put that additional graphical power into the dock, which is a buy-set, or just release 2 SKUs. You've got the regular one where you don't care about the extra power and things like that, and you're okay with it being 720p. And then you've got the Pro version, which comes with the Super Dock, which allows you to plug it in, have that extra graphical power, have all the shiny bells and whistles. They could go down that route, save themselves money on the handheld.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what they do, but Nintendo like to take the easy way. So
I say they like to take the odd way, not necessarily the easy way, the weird head scratching
weird
way.
Yeah, weird. We'll take the
Right.
2 years out of date technology approach.
Yeah.
Yep, Nintendo gonna Nintendo. Always. Oh dear me.
And no matter what, their console's going to sell like hotcakes. The next Nintendo console, whatever they're going to go for, whether it's going to be Switch or more just like a normal traditional console. Maybe
Yeah.
they even do both.
I don't think
Especially-
there's a world these days. Like Nintendo used to have a home console that had the GameCube as well as the DS or the Game Boy
The
Advance.
GameCube was ahead of its time when it came
was.
out.
It was. They used to have home console and handheld.
Mm-hmm.
They've saved themselves money and time by not having 2 SKUs, and now they've got a game console which is also handheld. So I don't ever foresee a point in time where they would go back to having, okay, now we've got a handheld again. We're bringing back the Game Boy, but we've also got the Nintendo Switch Pro. Like, I don't foresee a time where they do that anymore. I think they've said, right, we have nailed the market on hybrid system. We've just got to figure out how to get that working going forwards. I think that's a tough one. I wouldn't like to be in their position trying to figure that out, to be honest. Trying to figure out how to manage that and how to transition what would be 140 million plus players from the Switch over to the next Switch. That's a task that I wouldn't like to do. It's much easier for a console, like an actual physical console, because those physical consoles, up until this year, have continued to have cross-generational games. So you can still go out and buy your games on these old consoles, and you're not missing out. But this year onwards requires people to have a PlayStation 5, requires people to have an Xbox Series X or S, or, unless you've got a PC, or you've got a capable mobile phone and Wi-Fi or 5G, of course use cloud or TV, which 2021 onwards with Samsung. But again, those are still limiting factors. Primarily going forwards, you really need to be picking yourself up a Series S or X and a PlayStation 5 if you want to have the best capabilities of playing any of these games and in their best light. Switch are going to have a hard time figuring out what it is that they need to do. I wouldn't like to be in their position.
I don't believe that though, because again, Nintendo, I don't know why it's such a powerhouse, but it's such a powerhouse. All they gotta do is just put that console out there, show Metroid Prime 4, show Zelda, show a new Mario Kart, and boom.
Louis, I think the problem they've got is they were left so stung by how bad the Wii U took.
Yeah.
They never want to repeat that ever again. They had a the Nintendo, the entertainment system, smash hit. Super Nintendo, smash hit. Nintendo GameCube, smash hit. Nintendo Wii, smash hit. Nintendo Wii U, completely terrible. Ridiculous. Giant tablet thing that you had to do as a controller that wasn't a controller. It kind of was, but wasn't. It was also the system. What is going on here? Didn't do well at all. Nintendo Switch come out, absolutely through the roof again. Okay, we've hit the mark where we know what people love, but we need to refine this system to be able to get more, to give the developers more and also the people more. How do we do this without losing them, like we did in the Wii U? Because the Wii U was phenomenal. It's still one of the best-selling systems ever, and then they completely tanked on the Wii U.
But by the way, you do recognize, much like PS3 to PS4 and Xbox 360 to Xbox One, the Switch was a downgrade of the Wii U. It was less powerful than the Wii U.
Yep.
which is mind blowing. I am a proud Wii U owner, sir. Yes,
Me
I
too.
played Breath of the Wild before it came out on the Switch. I have my Wii U back there. It was before its time. Let's just say these days that thing can play a lot more things than you know. Let's just move forward on that. That hardware is pretty cool, but I do hear you. They're like wireless, you know, with the screen that literally couldn't move more than 5 feet away from the base. That killed it. I couldn't even move away in my own house. Like if I come to the office and the TV's literally right over there, it would kill. You know, that stuff I think killed it. But yeah, Nintendo go Nintendo, man. I really hope we see them, because between all that time and now, there's a lot of management that's changed hands, right? CEO's different, lots of differences in that company. So you'd think when they release hardware again, it might be, to my understanding, they're even younger now. It's young, ambitious management levels there, right? So it makes me go, hey, let's hope that they come out and they go, look, the time of the old school stuff is gone. We want to compete. We're going to be Nintendo, so our network infrastructure is going to continue to be trash. But hey, maybe our hardware will be a little bit more forward looking. We can only hope.
Yeah, for me, it's and again for everybody, I think everybody's grown up on Nintendo or had a Nintendo, so there is never going to be a point in time where I will not have a Nintendo system in my life. It's one of them things. You have to. You still need your Pokemon. You still need your Zelda. You still need your Mario. Like those games are eternal. Like your Mario Kart. I'm so glad that they continued with that and they're saying, all right, we've brought out so many of the old tracks back and things like that. Like those games are just, you can put it down no matter who's around, any friend, any family member. You can pick up all your Joy-Cons. You go on Mario Kart. You have a fun time. You play Mario Party like Pat was with his missus the other day with Pink Vibes, playing a Mario Party and things. Those games are just fun family time. And those are the reasons people love Nintendo and continue to buy Nintendo. And that's why we will continue to going forward. But we need to have a bit more power. It's not much for me. I'm not too bothered because I'll still buy it. But for the developers' sake, give them more power, for the love of God. I'd like, if this is what they can create on such limiting hardware, it excites me to see what these developers can create when they have something behind them. Like, imagine what they're capable of producing when they have actual solid hardware to create for. And they don't have to think, I need to fit this massive AAA open world Pokemon onto a mobile chipset from 7 years ago. Like, how are we doing this, guys? This is going to take... We finished the game 7 years ago, but we now have to spend 7 years optimizing it down so much.
Using this weird bespoke development environment that they haven't changed since God knows when. Like, it's amazing that some of the things that run on that thing. It's just nuts. It shows the love of the developers for that company and that hardware.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Absolutely. But on that note, guys, it's been an absolute blast. And thank you again once more for answering the bat signal, Web Dave, Asante, and Crazy Louie. Much appreciated. But we will get everybody out of here, and of course, to enjoy your awesome Friday nights and your weekends. But first and foremost, Asante, let people know where people can find yourself and what you've got planned for the Gaming Circle podcast tomorrow.
So yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. It was always awesome catching up with you guys. I enjoyed doing that, and the work didn't bother me, so it's all good. Thank you guys, and thank you for not bothering me. No, it's great being here. It was awesome to be part of the show. I love being on the show because I never get a chance to. I'm usually like working while you guys are podcasting, and I'm leaving notes from time to time. So it's great to get a chance to be on. I will actually be on tonight as well on Xbox Infinite Podcast with Risk It for the Biscuit. We're talking to, so it's going to be some slander. Risk It found the only reviewer that gave Forspoken a 9.5 out of 10. And he's brought him on to talk to him about it. So let's just say it's going to get spicy. We're going to be on there tonight. And of course, the Gaming Circle podcast, it will be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the US. What are we going to talk about? I think I'm literally looking at our news stories, and there's about 12 of them. So we're not talking about all of them, the news gods provided this week. So it should be a lot of fun. We have a bunch of folks coming on. One Bad Mother from Xbox Era will be there. We have just a whole bunch of folks coming on to enjoy and have crazy fun gaming times with us and talk about Halo and how sad it is. So we'll be there, and we thank you guys for jumping in and joining us if you can and checking it out. And appreciate the invite once again. Thank you, gentlemen. It's always fun podcasting with you guys.
I'm always living split screen between yourself and. And
Yeah.
like
Absolutely,
literally living split screen. I've usually got you both up at the same time.
Yeah, and check my outros. I'm always telling people we go for 3 hours. Living split screen, still going, and keep going. I appreciate those brothers. So yes, indeed. We're good brethren, but good community here, and of course, the midweek mix-up is no different.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. And next
you,
up,
man.
of course, Web Dave. Let people know what you've got coming up and who you've been interviewing recently and when that'll drop.
Thank you again for sending out the signal for me too. I really appreciate it. I always have fun on here, man. This is exciting. And the second time I've been on here, and both times I've been on with KSante, so it's an omen. That's what it is. Awesome. It's great. Crazy Lou, General C. I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. And Dutch, you put out a really good show. And like I said, appreciate you more than you know. And then my show is Outbreak Gamers. We do that. It's a show that drops every Monday usually. Interviewed Dutch, KSante, Crazy Lou, these other two guys. We're hopefully going to get them interviewed here before long. But that way you can get a little deep dive and a little more insight into into the gaming community that we have here, and it is quite a good one and quite a lot of fun. Also have a new show we're going to try out on Sunday with Retri. It's the Gaming Council. We're going to try that out, give it a shot. I know it's like Super Bowl Sunday or something, crazy time to be just doing it, but you know what? We're just not everybody's into football. I am, but we're gonna do it anyway. You know. So
Wait, when's this?
this week or next week? I don't know. It's coming up. But anyway, Crazy Lou, don't lose your mind, man. It's okay. All right, NFL.com, buddy. Check it out. You're okay. All right.
No, what happened?
But anyway, guys, thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. Uh-oh.
So wait, when's the Super Bowl?
You just had to look it up. NFL.com there, Lou.
Oh Lord, is it now in February? Oh no, I'll be
yeah,
away.
it's in February.
No, I'll be away.
Worldwide.
February 12th.
See, you got another week, man. You're good. You got plenty of time.
Oh dear me. Next up, Patcher. Let people know, brother, where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
You guys can find me, of course, on Twitter. Got the name right here. It's a new thing. Headlines. You can put headlines now on
Yeah,
Stream,
interesting.
so- yeah, that's pretty cool though. But yeah, you guys can find me, of course, on Twitter. Same account for Twitch. Haven't been streaming a lot lately, but I'll be back streaming. And yeah, what I have coming up. Probably when I stream, I'll do Call of Duty, maybe some HiFi Rush. I'm gonna definitely jump back into that story as well. Of course, Age of Empires. Really enjoying that because brings back memories, man. Last time I played that was on PC, and that's years ago. So it's crazy now to have it on console. So I'm enjoying that as well. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm stuck with those 3 or 4 games that I'm playing right now. So
Yeah, great games as well. I need
And,
to jump into Age of Empires, and I think we need to set up at some point a versus Age of Empires on console because I'm not the best on console. I won't be the best on console, even though I'm proficient on PC. So I'll still be just as newbie as you guys are on console. So we can set up a versus game on that, see what happens. I think that'll be cool.
yeah, but it's pretty cool. The controls are like once you play it for an hour or something, like you figure out what to use, and so it's not that bad. And I want to do a shout out to Crazy Louis, Keasante, and Web Dave for coming, for stopping by. Of course, enjoyed it. Yeah, and hope to see you guys soon, man.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you guys.
And as the show's wrapping up here, we've got the slander in the chat there from Vin. He must have heard the call. Did somebody mention it 3 times?
What do you mean timeout?
It was close. I think it was twice. But...
Twice. So we just
Wow.
we have to just there we go. He's just as it ends, he gets his timeout. He had to come in just on the end here and just ruin it for everybody with his scale-bound talk. Timeout, Vin. Oh dear me. Next up, of course, Crazy Louis. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and where they can find your awesome podcast with your crew.
Oh man, guys, it was awesome hanging out with you guys. Thank you, Dutch, for inviting me. Even though I know you put the bad signal, but it's always fun joining you guys here in midweek mix-up. Always so much fun. You guys can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louis Gaming, where I say good morning and do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can also find me on Mondays at the Xbox Lunch Break Special with Mr. Webdave, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, and Mr. Boomstick. And last but not least, you can find me at Wednesdays at 7 p.m. ET at the Xbox International Podcast with Silent Cypher, Cyberblow, and the Big Plume talking about what's going on in the gaming world.
Awesome stuff. Quick shout out to Dave Ramos there with a $2 super chat. Great show, y'all. Looking forward to GoesseN tomorrow. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir, as always. Next up, of course, my co-host of the weekend edition, the General C. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Before I get on to that, I just want to say thanks to GoesseN, Web Dave, and Crazy Louis for coming by. It's awesome to have you here. I think it was the first time podcasting with Web Dave and the second time podcasting with GoesseN. So awesome stuff. A little bit of breaking news here. The Last of Us PC port has been delayed to March 28th. So not much longer. I think it was supposed to come out the 3rd of March, but been pushed back to the end of March now. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter and my Twitch channel, the _general_C. And I'll be playing, hopefully, this weekend, some more Hunt Showdown.
Awesome stuff. And for myself, of course, you can find me everywhere at the WandrinDutch. You can find me usually every Tuesday for the Sea of Tuesdays podcast, every Wednesday for the Midweek Mix-Up podcast, every second Sunday, so it'll be next Sunday, we will have the weekend edition come back as well. We will talk about, of course, the Last of Us episodes, which would include episode 3 and 4, and many other gaming topics, as always. Other than that, of course, you can find me on The World of Gaming with Boxenberger on Thursdays. You can also find me on Wednesday evenings with Boomstick and Friends on Primetime Gaming, of course, with the glorious Mr. Keasante and co. For me, I'm going to be jumping straight on to Age of Empires after this podcast, trying that out, trying to avoid HiFi Rush as best as I can, because if I see HiFi Rush's symbol on the dashboard, I'm just going to, whoops, it's back on again. I'll have to play Age tomorrow. So I'm going to try and avoid that, jump onto Age, try that out, see if I can get used to it. But yeah, other than that, guys, thank you to everybody who's joined in on chat this evening. Absolute blast. Thank you for your awesome comments as always. Please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe and help the algorithm gods out as best as you can. But until then, guys, have an awesome evening. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you all again next week. Goodbye now.
I send flames for my aim. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. It's on my face, I cannot hide from the mistake my parents made. I'm never moving on. Not made from love, a remnant of a selfish motive. motive? Was I needed? Do I need it to go wrong? Polarizing hair and pain, pumping through my veins. Eyes in flames, call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. If I embrace the side of me, I only fuel the fire. But is it wrong for me to fight against the balance of my power? History in halves, one brain. I will break the chain. Oh no, どこには呼ぶ燃えるラメコールドポップの愛と嫌いにいる Oh no どこには呼ぶ燃えるラメコールドポップの愛と嫌いにいる I love